Hello, welcome to the second annual 13th Man. It's the first annual 13th Man Sports, but we're back with another CFL Draft. We were live last year as well covering the 2020 draft, and we're back at it covering the 21 draft. How are you doing tonight, Frankie?
Tired, I'd say. But, it's CFL Draft night, so it's wonderful to have some CFL back in our lives in some way, shape, or form. And I hope that our stream is a little bit better than it was last year, because that was our first ever stream, Shane. Oh, I can't hear you. I don't know what's happening. You should stop muting yourself. Okay. Well, while Shane is trying to fix out some of those technical issues that he's having, we have Alain Simonkinda with us. So we will bring him in. Welcome, Alain. How are you? Oh, you are muted. Let's unmute you. There we go.
I'm muted now.
How are you today, Alain?
I'm good. It's a blessing. I'm taking in, soaking all the moment in, the experience. So I'm enjoying it, man. How y'all doing?
We're fantastic. We're kind of excited to get to the draft, and as I'm sure you are. First, thank you for giving us a little bit of your time here. I know it's a very busy, and as I can see behind you, you got some family with you to hopefully celebrate tonight.
Yeah, yes, sir. I got my brothers with me, people that don't help me out through the journey, and I kept my head straight and everything. So I wanted to celebrate this, this time with them.
And I think the last time that I spoke to you, you told me, you don't worry about the things you don't have any control over.
Sure.
How are your thoughts headed into tonight?
Wherever I go, whichever round I go, whichever team I go, come training camp, I'm gonna have to put that work in. I'm gonna have to work for whatever I want to gain. So it don't really matter, right? At the end of the day, I may have my own wishes where I want to go or where I see myself play, but all that don't really matter because ultimately the decision will come to what I want. So might as well just keep an open mind in there so I can soak everything in and enjoy it as it go.
For the people who don't know much about you, which is, to be fair, probably a lot of CFL fans, as U Sports doesn't really get the coverage that it probably deserves. For whatever team drafts you tonight, what do you bring to the table, and what can you contribute year one?
I bring that rawness, that mindset, that work ethic. I'm gonna be the first one in, last one out. In my game, man, I just have a special game. Disruptive, explosive in there. My quickness, my takeoff. I believe I got the best takeoff in this league. So, all that's going to be helping the team, get closer to the ultimate goal.
And then I kind of want to get a little bit of an inside view on what the draft process looked like, before obviously anyone gets selected. In terms of, interviews and tape and all that stuff, what did that look like for you with the various teams?
It was just different because of COVID. It was all virtual, so we had to get it taped out in our own setting and then send it to them, and then they were doing their own timing and all that. In one side, it was easier just because I didn't have to worry about the stress of going in and having the actual combo. But on the other side, it was very hard doing it in a pandemic where you don't have access to gym time, normal gym times. You can't go outside to get your proper runs or your long distance runs and all that. So, but overly, I ain't really complaining. So I took it all in for what it was, and then I enjoyed it truly.
And all Zoom interviews, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir. Zoom interview, phone interview. So.
How do you think, for the most part, how did those go for you?
Pretty good, man. I had a great talk with all the teams that I had. So I had 7 out of the 9 teams. All went great.
Perfect. Shane, you got anything? Or are you still in microphone trouble?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm listening. What I do gotta start. You're statistically one of the best players to play at Guelph. How you're going back to U Sports. Looking back on your U Sports career, and going into the draft, how do you feel happy with how you ended, or do you kind of wish you had the 2020 season to kind of build off what you started?
One side of me kind of misses that accomplishment out, but even just whenever I think about that, I even get more frustrated because I had missed a couple games, or there was a couple games where I didn't even get to start early in my career, so all that could have compounded. But I don't really complain, man. I take life for what it is. Whenever doors that are closed, some other ones open, and then I'm at the situation where right now, I'm thinking about even getting drafted in the CFL. So, nah, man, it happened for a reason. Everything that happens for a reason. God has a plan, so like I have in my head right now. So we just go with it, man. Don't complain.
And how, kind of a rough idea of how you're expecting things to go tonight, not to get into the, where you think you're going to go or what round, but do you have expectations for tonight?
No, sir. I'm just taking it in for what it is. I have no control of what happens, so might as well just enjoy it like everybody else.
Has a team kind of put out there that they're interested in you, or are you do you have a feeling on who might take you?
7 out of 9 teams that spoke to me, right? About, we understand that the game of football, it's schemes, who's available at the time. So, game plans can change depending on whoever gets picked. That's why I don't really like to stipulate and even get into all that. There's too many variables involved for me to even worry about all that. At the end of the day, if I get a call, it's going to be amazing, whichever round comes from. At the end of the day, I'm going to have to go out there and play ball. So I'm not even tripping about none of that.
Have you had a chance yet to sit back and look at everything as a whole and just kind of realize that the moment that you're in right now is potentially one of the biggest of your life?
At times, but I don't think it has yet to hit me, just because I've been chasing this dream and working for this for so long, right? I've been give me a second real quick.
We about to watch him go first overall here, Shane, or what?
I mean, going to Hamilton? I don't know. I don't know if I want to see Ottawa going against them.
Yeah.
All right, how long? All right, yeah, that works. All right, was it?
All right.
All right, bet.
I'll just mute him real quick. Just so we don't catch anything we're not supposed to.
Put on do not disturb, but I don't want to miss them important calls. So
hey, no issue. No issue
for that.
That's okay. I was kind of hoping that'd be the call that said, Alain, we just picked you first overall. And then we get the reaction of everybody in the background. I think that'd be fantastic.
I think we're a little early on that though.
Yeah,
we got 20 minutes for that.
Yeah, we still got some
time. I think we were in the middle of a question, were we not?
Yeah. I remember. What was the question again?
Looking back, have you had a chance to sit back and kind of reflect from your whole journey through football?
At times here and there, whenever I get breaks, whenever I come back home, I'm stretching, I'm thinking back, but not really, man, not truly, right? Because I've been working for this goal as long as 10, 11 years ago, right? So I've always had my head down, I put the work and then just but I don't think I've taken it in, because for me at least, I have yet to make it. A draft is just more the first step throughout that process. I got to make the squad, I got to make the starting roster, and truly be that dude that I want to be at the next level for me to truly feel it. So I felt some of it, but I don't think I truly felt it, the whole experience yet. Probably gonna hit me later on today, but who knows.
So how do you allow yourself? Oh, go ahead, Shane.
Do you model your game after anyone, like your playing style after anyone in the CFL or even in the NFL, or are you kind of just?
I model my game, especially whenever I play D tackle to Aaron Donald, because we have similar body frame, similar skill sets, right? So I try to mimic some of the stuff he do and work on some of his safety and all that, but at the end of the day, it kind of comes out to be my own game, because we're not exactly the same person. So however he do it, whenever I try to mimic it, it always come out the way I can. My abilities allow me to do it. So so I try to copy some of his stuff, but most of the time it's just raw film stuff, stuff that I've seen that this opponent is not strong on. So we'll be trying to focus on that and take advantage of it.
How do you allow yourself to live in the tonight? Because knowing you, I know you want to get on the field and you want to prove your worth and you want to make the team. How do you allow yourself to just celebrate what happens tonight and then kind of forget about the future for a bit?
I'll keep beating them now, right? Like, I mean, I train every day, or at least I try to train every day. So I'm always, working on my craft and trying to get better, get closer to my goal. So I can never trip, whenever it comes to that, because I know I'm doing what I got to do. And then I just, keep on, enjoying my family around me, man, and my friends, the people that don't help me get to this level. So just keep on, being in the moment and then taking everything for what it is.
That phone's gonna go off a lot tonight, I guarantee it.
I'm telling you, bro. Oh, blessings.
So then kind of to go immediately back on what I just asked you, do you have any expectations for what a potential training camp might look like, especially during COVID times and with I guess, a double class of rookies at the camp as well?
I have no idea. We have yet to hear or talk to coaches about that aspect. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna learn about it as soon as I get picked up. But like I said, anything I can't really control, there's no point in me really worrying about it. At the time, we'll cross that bridge whenever we get at it. There's no point in me out here speculating or expecting or hoping for this and that. If chances are, it's gonna play out otherwise. So I just take it day to day and then go about it as things are announced.
Shane, you got anything else?
Yeah, just one more question for me right now is, what would you say to the youth players that are looking at this class and watching the CFL be like, I want to be there? What advice do you have for them?
Just keep working, man. Trust the craft, trust the commitment, trust the process. Make sure you do everything, the right things for the right reasons. Like I've always said, and my coaches always told me, when you're going out of route, and go run with a purpose. Don't just go do it because it's what people told you to do or what you thought was the right thing. But make sure you actually look through. Make sure every second, every hour, every minute you spend working on your craft is actually helping you. Getting towards closer to your goals. So just keep that commitment, man. Keep trusting the process and keep trusting yourself, man, and believing in your own skills and talent. And then put in the work. And then one day you'll bring your head up, and then you'll see you'll be where you wanted to be when you were a young kid.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's a big night for you. So thank you very much for coming on. We wish you good luck. And congratulations and have fun tonight.
See y'all. Take care. Love.
Have a good one, boss. Man, what I'm still kind of not even starstruck, but it's kind of crazy seeing players that I played with in Ottawa being drafted or, heading to the draft like LA. Brad Cohen was a 6th-round pick out of Laurier with the Red
When do you get
Blacks.
picked?
I don't think I will. I think I've missed too much football to get picked.
What makes you say that?
Well, I mean, I've missed my last 3 years of junior football two because of COVID and one because of injury. If there's a camp opening, if there's a tryout, I will be there next. I will be there 100%. But I mean, hey, last year there was a guy who was 27 and got drafted. So maybe I can get lucky, put some film out. I don't know. Probably not going to happen.
Well, that's the interesting thing with the CFL draft. I mean, I was looking back. I think I'm going to try to have an article out that's looking back at the 2014 draft. But also maybe, I don't know, because I'm getting my wisdom teeth yanked out tomorrow, Shane, and I don't really want to write it high.
Oh, man, that's rough. I'm lucky I don't have wisdom teeth.
Oh, yeah. Well, one day they're just going to pop up and they're going to ruin your entire life, just so you know.
No, I literally think I don't even have them. Last time I got an x-ray, they were like, oh, yeah, you don't have wisdom teeth yet.
Oh.
So my doctor's like, you probably won't get them.
Well, okay. Well, that's bullshit.
Hey, I've suffered through enough medical stuff that I can get a pass on the wisdom teeth.
I don't know. If I have to suffer, everyone has to suffer. But
okay, that means you have to suffer like a knee injury, a hip injury, a broken elbow. No. Yeah, see,
just other way around. But as I was saying, this is the interesting with the CFL draft is it's very. You never really know where the good players are going to come from because I think there was 2 consistent players in the entire first round of that draft that are still playing today. and that's Anthony Coombs and Antoine Pruneau.
And to be fair,
Where do
Anthony
both play?
Coombs was like on the verge of being out of the league until he went to
Yep.
Hamilton.
Yep. And now where are they both?
The draft's a crapshoot no matter the league.
Yep. But I think particularly in the CFL, where just because you have the first overall pick doesn't mean you're getting the best player. A lot of the best players in the league weren't even drafted.
True. And I think it's funny because I saw Farhan Laji tweet out something the other day about more high-profile player or more skilled positions in the top, like in the higher rounds, like more skilled positions, less linemen. And my response to that was straight out like, how many skill positions in the CFL are filled by Canadians?
Yep.
As a starter, you know, there's I can only think of maybe like 10 guys in the last 5 years, that come to mind automatically that were starter caliber skill positions.
In terms of guys who were drafted and instantly became starters?
None. Outside of like Pruneau is the only one that I can think of in the first round that was like a skill position.
Yeah. Antoine Pruneau is on a different level though. Like that guy is legitimately one of the best players in the league. He's kind of the unicorn when it comes to Canadian skill position talent.
But think about it. Saskatchewan had 3 starting receivers, all Canadian at one time. Andy Fantus, Chris Getzlaff, and Rob Begg.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, Ottawa has had Sinopoli, and that's really about it. They have Coombs this year.
Yep.
I think Winnipeg or Hamilton had Coombs. They've had Fantus. I think that's really it. Like Montreal, I don't think has had much of a receiving. Like the skill positions are filled by Americans. The only position that's not American dominant is O-line. So either the philosophy in the CFL coaches need to change that Canadians can play in these skill positions, and I don't see that changing.
Well, how many guys in the league too just come from like walk-on positions and become stars? Like it's just not. You don't need to build through the draft, and that's not to say that the draft isn't important because if you nail your picks, you end up with a dominant offensive line, and then you win a lot of football games, or you end up with. Go ahead.
But like outside of line, if you know, there's only so many linemen, right? You can only have so many linemen. So if you want to build the game, and I think this is where the CFL has hurt itself. If you want to build the game, you want to see Canadians in these skilled positions. But the argument is, are they giving a legitimate chance to start and play in these skilled positions, or are you throwing them all on the offensive line and then kind of splitting them around? You know, I think that's the issue the CFL has.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I don't think the CFL is going to tell a Canadian receiver that you're not allowed to play because you're Canadian. It's quite the opposite. You encourage Canadian starters. I mean, once again, we come back to the issue is the funding between U Sports teams and NCAA teams. I mean, it's pretty reasonable to say that 9 times out of 10, the receiver who comes out of the NCAA has had more tools at his disposal to develop himself. And in most cases, that means that you're going to be a better receiver, whether that carries over. And, you know, we see guys like Brad Sinopoli become dominant when they get some tools. They can work with those tools. And then all of a sudden they become one of the best receivers in the league. Sometimes just guys don't get that option if they're coming out of U Sports.
Yeah, and I mean, the U Sports CFL relationship is a completely different conversation because that's been in the shits for years now. Like the relationship for U Sports with TSN and Sportsnet has been in shits for years. And until that's fixed, U Sports are just going to be like a middle of the pack thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we are currently 10 minutes away, as Blackbeard on YouTube has pointed out. Can I show that? Can I show that, Shane?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat there. Despite everything that we've said about the draft being a crapshoot and not necessarily the best way to build your teams. It's still very important if you can, nail your picks. It's much better to hit on them than to miss on them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the CFL draft, especially this year, is such like you're going to see players who have been picked by NFL teams and or have signed NFL contracts, like Dave Naylor said and Firehound Laundry said early in the draft, because you have 2 draft classes, so you don't need players in this draft. Like I expect guys who are late in the draft, who are 23, 24, can go should be able to go back to to the U Sports and play their final year of U Sports in the later rounds.
And that's assuming U Sports plays. Like, are you fully confident they're going to play?
I think so.
Because I'm not.
I think so. We got devastating news out of the Quebec League, the Quebec Fall League, which I've been saying it for the last 3 years. They need to join with the CJ, the Canadian Junior Football League, but the Canadian Junior Football League needs to up their age from 22 to 24. Because if you can play U Sports, you should be able to play junior, but that's a different story. They've officially canceled their season.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be confident that U Sports plays their football season until they say they're playing their football season. I don't think that just because the CFL plays, that means U Sports plays. I think that might be complicated.
I feel like U Sports has until August to decide.
Yeah.
Right? You have student athletes, so you have that extra time to decide on who, if you're playing or not. But I would not be surprised if they play. I think I'd be more surprised if they didn't play.
Yeah, I think it really depends where we're at with our vaccines and all that fun stuff that everybody loves hearing about. But it reminds me very similarly to the OHL and the issues that they've had getting their season off the ground and ultimately canceling it. They don't have the money. And we talk all the time about how the CFL doesn't have the money. U Sports definitely does not have.
I don't think U Sports doesn't require a lot of money. It's not a money-driven league.
Yeah, I mean it's not a money-driven league until they require daily testing and then they require you to play in some kind of makeshift bubble. Then it's an issue.
Yeah, but I don't think
you have a problem.
I don't think you need to. You have. Realistically, by August, we should have the capabilities to play football. If we don't, it's on Lisa McLeod and Doug Ford, not on anyone else. Because if they're willing to sign off on another NHL season, then there is no reason whatsoever for them not to sign off on a CFL, U Sports, OHL season at all. They've signed off, and this is my thing. If I'm the CFL, if I'm U Sports, you've signed off on and if I'm the OHL, I haven't followed the OHL situation, so I'm not exactly sure how it's kind of run down. But if I'm CFL and U Sports, the OHL, the AHL and NHL have had games. They have played. They have had travel. They're going to tell me that I can't have inter-provincial travel from school to school. You don't have you don't have Windsor. So you don't schedule that Windsor comes up to play Carleton or Ottawa, right? You have Ottawa going down playing Toronto, and that's the first they play. GTA. Maybe play McMaster, but you don't have a team from Windsor. You kind of have to schedule it better, yes, but it's only 8 games, and you're telling me that you can't play 8 games, but you're going to allow a team to play. I don't know. They played 56 games. So you had 56 games, home games between Toronto and Ottawa?
Yeah, I agree. I think the OHL should have played this year. I think there was a way to have the CFL play last summer. I think there's a way to make the CFL work this year. And I sure as hell think that there's a way to make U Sports happen this year. But nothing is logical right now at all. So it's not that I don't think they're going to play. It's that I'm skeptical that they're going to play until I know for sure they're going to play.
It's more likely to see Ontario play and Quebec and Atlanta, the Atlantic Coast, teams to play, than it is for my issue is Western Canada.
Yeah,
you have
I think they'll separate them for sure.
But how? You have what? 3 schools in Saskatchewan, 2 in Manitoba. You have like 4 in Alberta and 3 in BC.
Yeah,
I don't even know how many
think
teams. I wonder how many teams. I don't even know. Can't remember how many teams. I don't know how many teams are actually in the Western League. I can't remember. But you can play
while you were looking at that, Blackbeard, we appreciate you sticking around. You, I guess if we're your go-to covers tonight, you might be getting the short end of the stick. Who really knows? But we'll do our best to keep you informed.
Hey, we'll do our best. We enjoy it just as much as the other people. My hair is just crazy right now. I don't like
My
the
hair's
way
in a
it
hat,
looks.
so that's because it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't have a Rough Riders hat, and I figured I'd wear something a little bit nicer, and my hair is just all kinds of messy.
McLaren's a pretty good CFL team, right?
Oh, yeah. But Canada West, you have Calgary, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta, Regina, and UBC. So, Canada West has so much more work because you can have the Atlantic Coast Conference. You can. You already do. You have the AUS, which has Acadia, Bishops, Mount Allison, St. Mary's, St. FX. You have RSEQ, which is Laval, Montreal, McGill, Sherbrooke. And then you have OUA, which is basically Western, Guelph, McMaster, Ottawa U, Waterloo, Laurier, Carleton, Queens, Toronto, Windsor, and York. So the only one I'm worried about is Canada West.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just have to kind of wait and see with U Sports. I hope for the sake of everybody they get back on the field, right? I think another season where if they have to have another draft next year after another season and no football, what are we looking at that point then? Tape that's 2 years old to make a decision
I don't think
guys I don't think you can.
You would have to play spring ball at that point.
That's a disaster.
No choice. You have no choice but to play spring ball. You have no choice to play from, May. I would start as early as March and go until the end of April.
Yeah. I mean, we're way into the hypothetical.
But yeah, that's for U Sports, right? You have NCAA players who, you have players that'll go to the NCAA if they have to.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I feel like U Sports will play. They'll find a way to play. Canada West is my only issue. Could you amalgamate? Could you put, Manitoba into OUA for a season? Who knows? And then you have 5 teams in Canada West outside of 6.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Okay, we are about a minute away. Do you want to step away for a quick break before we go through 3 hours of hell?
Honestly, it should not be 3 hours. We have 6 rounds and 9 picks. Should not be 3 hours. We're not.
We have no territorial stuff this year either, eh?
Yeah, so it should be easy. I'm gonna go fix my hair. So yes, we're gonna step away real quick. We'll be back with the first pick off the board, coming from your Hamilton Tiger Cats since they won the random lottery. They just random simulator, just hit a button. They got the first pick. They also have the 9th pick, thanks to the trade that sent Johnny Manziel from Hamilton to Montreal. So we're going to take a step back. We'll be right back. Thank you all for tuning in so far. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook, all that fun stuff. We'll see you in a bit. All right, we are back, and it's 7:03. They haven't announced who is. I'm pretty sure I'm on mute again.
Nope, you're good.
Okay, cool.
Nice headband.
Yeah, I decided to channel my inner Derek Dennis here. I do
Always
have
my
his
Mitchells.
jersey behind me, and Rough Riders, he did play for them, so like now I need to get an Edmonton jersey with him. So
You should wait. Maybe. Hey, you know what? Another topic we got to talk about at some point. When are we getting the new name for Edmonton? Is that
probably whenever they decide when there's a new season.
I'm
like,
wondering. Maybe they should
realistically.
just drop it on us randomly tonight.
Yeah, just be like because hey, they're sitting 5th overall. This would be a perfect time to be like, hey, with the 5th overall pick, the Edmonton Elks are happy to select.
Oh,
so
that would be fantastic.
So since most of you know,
Genuine.
we can't stream TSN's actual broadcast, so we won't be doing that. The best thing we could do, like we did last year, was take the draft screen from the CFL website and share it with you guys, which is what we're going to be doing this year. I already have it set up. I'll share it with you.
Does it work?
Yeah,
I didn't even think about this.
Got it
Glad
right
you tested
here.
it. You're smarter than I am.
So we have Hamilton. Like I said, Hamilton is first. That's their own pick. Saskatchewan represent is second. Winnipeg is third. BC is fourth. The EE football team sit at 5. Ottawa at 6. Toronto at 7. Calgary at 8. And Hamilton at 9. It is a snake draft. So at the beginning of the second round, Montreal, who should have been picking 9th, is picking 10th. In the second round, first overall in the second round. So they're sitting. They could trade back in because realistically, who knows what goes on this year? They could easily trade back in.
Yeah. Elk or bust. I honestly, you know what, Blackbeard? If they put an S at the end of and they make it Elks, I would be disappointed. I think elk or bust.
Yeah, I mean, hey, those elks, like if you actually watch an elk, they are vicious animals. Like they will run someone over. So to be fair, I have no issue with the name elk. I think it's cool. The one thing I want to point out is that double E jersey. Absolutely hate the double E jersey, but the helmets,
Hey.
the helmets that they had when those jerseys first came out, with like the yellow, with the double, like with the green, double E, were straight out beautiful.
Funny story, Shane. I knew you hated those, so I had written something about best or ranking the. I did something, I don't know, and I used that jersey, and you said we're not publishing it until I changed the picture to not include that jersey.
It looks weird, and like it's not just Edmonton. Ottawa's like this because it's all part of the same collection. It was all part of the signature look that came out, I believe, in 2014 under Reebok. They all looked like anything that had the logo at the front. Ottawa, Toronto, and Saskatchewan and Edmonton all looked weird. Toronto's looked like a friggin' beer league, amateur touch football league jersey. Ottawa's, I mean, we both have it. I personally don't like it. I don't think it's the nicest. I don't like the logo. It feels weird. Edmonton's is just weird. Personally, the best 2 jerseys to come out of that, or best 3, were Montreal's easily with the wings, the gray one with the wings on the shoulders, Hamilton's stealth, and then Calgary's black jersey.
Yeah. The Tiger Cats are officially on the clock, by the way. And last season they picked Coulter Woodmansey and as well, I'm blanking on the first name, but Bennett. So they made 2 really good picks last year. Man, I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna go here, but I'm afraid that anything
they're gonna go
pick,
receiver.
That would make sense. I think. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's the guy. There was a mock.
Out of Tennessee.
Yeah. So yeah, 8 days ago, it was the last one by CFL. They had actually it was Daniel Joseph, the end by North Carolina State, is who Marshall Ferguson has Hamilton taking first overall. Again, we haven't had a chance to really evaluate the guys that are coming into this draft. We don't have the same kind of film that the CFL, 3 Down Nation, those kind of guys have. So we're not like I've tried to do my research on some of these guys, but the film is sparse. Not everything is on YouTube, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I mean, I think more than anything, if the deep analysis is going to come from TSN, it's going to come from 3 Down Nation, and it'll come kind of afterwards once we kind of get everything sorted out and we get specific articles for specific teams and all that. I think for us, Shane, tonight is more about having a good time, first of all, enjoying some CFL news and headlines again, and kind of reacting and going insane when Al Ent goes at some point, because that's happening tonight.
Oh, 100%. I would be very surprised if he's not picked in the first 4 rounds. And this is where having a 6th-round draft impacts some of these players.
Yep.
Because LA would be LA would fall under a territorial pick for Ottawa.
Yep. And he would almost guaranteed to be a Red Black at that point.
100%. 100%. But looking at this mock draft, and I've looked at most of them, 3 Down Nation with Justin Dunk and JC Abbott and co. This one from Ferguson has Saskatchewan taking Logan Bandy, O-lineman out of Calgary, and skipping over a Saskatchewan Huskies product, Nelson Lacombo at DB, who he has going 3 to Winnipeg.
Is Nelson Lacombo's brother in the league already?
I believe so. I think he's in Montreal. I might be mistaken.
Yeah, it doesn't mention anything in his little blurb here, but Lacombo's a very, very familiar name. I just can't remember who his brother would be. Maybe somebody will pop that in the comments for us and make us feel like idiots.
Boseco?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, he signed with Montreal in the offseason. He signed with BC in the offseason, but he was originally in Montreal.
Yeah. They also have Ottawa picking Terrell Jana, which that's another interesting storyline. The Red Blacks have gone offensive line in every year except for 2, and in both those years they picked a safety. 2014 it was Antoine Pruneau, and then last year it was oh my god,
it was Auclair.
Yes,
I can't
Anthony
remember
Auclair.
his name, out of Laval.
Yeah.
Who is basically Pruneau's replacement, because Pruneau has had his health issues, and I would not be surprised if he retires in the next couple of seasons.
Look, I hope you're wrong on that front, because Antoine is a stand-up guy. He's a fantastic football player, and I think
I
the CFL
love him. I think
benefits
he's I think he's fantastic, but his health, like the amount of headache, like he's had a couple of concussions. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he walks away in the next couple of seasons.
I think it would be exceptionally disappointing from a Red Black standpoint when you look at the some of the defensive backs they've had, and guys that they've lost. Like if Pruneau were to retire, you've let Rico Murray go, Abdul Kane.
Kane's back in Ottawa.
He is back, but I mean, we'll see how long that lasts. Like, there's just been so many fantastic football players in Ottawa's back end that have just kind of gone away over, like Jonathan Rose, namely. It's, I hope that Antoine Pruneau sticks around for another 20 years, but we know that's not going to happen. But literally, that's the impact that Antoine Pruneau has on the Red Blacks, and just a fantastic guy as well.
Yeah, I mean, and we also have Justin Howell. And Justin Howell, in my opinion, and this is no shot to Antoine Pruneau, but Justin Howell is a better safety than Pruneau. And I think this is where, you look at it down the road, and like Pruneau's versatile. You can play your Sam linebacker, and you can play your.
We have a pick here.
Oh, do we? So hasn't updated. This is a problem
Jake
with not
Burke's
using
tight end out of Boston College.
What?
Wow.
Obviously, this isn't updating, so we're sorry for any lag.
I have the TSN feed running side by side for me.
Okay.
Already had torn ACL. 307 yards, 2 touchdowns in 36 games with Boston College. And he was a New England Patriots practice squad player last year.
Interesting. That's an interesting pick.
That is like where I don't have all of the details on Jake Bird. I don't know what kind of a player he is, whether he's going to come into the CFL and play fullback or if he'll be a receiver, what he'll do. Because obviously we don't have a tight end position. So that's a very interesting pick. He's a big guy.
Nick Lewis, in my opinion, is probably the guy you're looking at, right?
Yeah.
A guy who can play your slot, can block inside. He's versatile. I would have to think that's kind of what he fits in. He fits in your strong side, inside receiver, close to the line of scrimmage, giving you help on the edge and can give you those short routes or even stretch the field a little.
Yeah. Well, good God, if we're talking about another Nick Lewis, which, obviously I'm not going to put expectation of Nick Lewis on anybody because Nick Lewis is a legend. But could you imagine if the Tiger Cats had that to play with as well? Like just what they need, right? Another weapon. Like,
hey, I mean, I think Hamilton needs to win a Grey Cup, right?
They do.
Hamilton does need to win a Grey Cup. If this helps him win a Grey Cup, I'm totally happy with this.
Now, what happens with him next year? I mean, if he was on the Patriots practice squad, I'm assuming there's potentially some NFL opportunities there. Whether he remains on the Patriots practice squad or if he moves, on and up or something like that. Not necessarily guaranteed that he'll be in Hamilton next year by any means, but if he does go to Hamilton and he can play a big role for them, potentially, might also look like a Brad Sinopoli kind of deal. That would be a huge win for them.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how, how people look towards the position. Like he's what, 6'3", 260? That's just killer.
It's a big guy. I mean, he's a tight end. Like,
yeah, I mean, tonight's going to be good, and we've already got off to a quick start. It's Saskatchewan.
That pick was way off the board as well. I mean, I think that we've heard a little bit more about Bert in the last couple of days, and I think he also likened the Patriots to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So that's a bit of an interesting story, but he's nowhere to be seen on these mock drafts that came out just a week or two ago.
No, but again, this is what happens when you have two draft classes going into it. Like, you have to make these decisions on, okay, do we take a flyer in this round to just because we like the player and maybe he doesn't stick in the NFL and he's willing to come up here and we want his rights. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in this draft. Our players off the board that probably wouldn't have gone off the board early in the draft, but the teams want their rights in case it doesn't work out.
Well, I mean, it's home run picks. Like, at what point do we see Chuba Hubbard go as well? A running back that could be an absolute game breaker in the CFL if he were to ever get here. Just have his rights would be big.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna see it. Like, I would not be surprised. Hubbard was a 4th round pick?
Yep, to the Panthers, and I mean that's sitting behind Mike Davis and Christian McCaffrey, right? Davis is still there, I think.
No, he's in Atlanta.
Oh, either way, sitting behind McCaffrey.
Still,
I mean, you might get the football sometimes, but
I think their head coach really likes him. So I don't think it's out of the world for him to end up and stay in Carolina. I don't.
For sure.
I think there's a good possibility that he is the second running back in Carolina to start the season. But I think it's also a possibility that come the 6th round, a team like Toronto, because realistically, I think Toronto's the perfect team to draft him.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen well before that, just to be honest with you as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it was
possibly.
But
if he's in Toronto, like if Toronto's on the board 4th, 5th, and 6th round, there is no reason for them not to take him.
I mean, you may as well. Like, and it's not to discredit anybody that might be able to come into the CFL and make an impact. Like, at some point, like you just have too many players. You've kind of got to,
Okay, so Anthony, this isn't about not letting them play. They can go play. Just because you're drafted, this isn't the NHL or the NHL really, or MLB. If you're drafted by the CFL, a CFL team, you can still go to the NFL and play in the NFL. You don't have to. You're not restricted to just the CFL. It just happens to be that if, let's say they were cut, let's say Toronto drafts Hubbard in the 2nd round, and Hubbard gets cut by Carolina, Toronto has negotiation rights with Hubbard if he wants to come north. Like that's
the same thing. Same thing with the NFL as well. Just because you draft Hubbard doesn't mean he has to go there. And this would never happen. But if Hubbard decided, screw the NFL, I want to go with the CFL, he could still do that in theory. It wouldn't happen. Yes. But that's how drafts work. You're drafting players' rights.
Yeah, hey, if you want to go to the NFL, and I've said this multiple times, I have no issue him in the NFL. Like, I have no issue with players going to the NFL. That's not the problem. But, the CFL teams need to look at the possibility of, if they don't work out in the NFL, could they come north?
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying. Like, obviously, you want him to make his money. You want him to have a long career. But I just want him to have a long football career. If that's in the NFL or the CFL, so be it. If he's playing football, I think that's all that makes him happy.
My apologies. I have terrible allergies right now.
That's fine.
To Saskatchewan, though. This has to be Lacombe, right?
I would think so.
I would think so, too. I don't know if I could see them going a different direction. I mean, you also lost a fair amount of your linebacking core this year. So it's not to say that Lacombe is going to come in and make an immediate impact like a Cam Judge, but it stands to make a little bit of sense that would be the option they go.
I mean, as a DB, you're more likely to get him as your strong linebacker. Yeah, I would think. I would think that would make the most sense.
Yeah. We'll have to kind of wait and see here. That they're kind of taking their time a little bit with the first round, Shane, as they do normally.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
Yeah. Another thing I want to kind of chat about quickly, there was a report that there wasn't really much trade talk for this first round and for the draft in totality, as we've seen in previous years. Remember last year we saw Calgary trade the number 1 pick they got in exchange for Nick Arbuckle, which that really worked out pretty well, didn't it?
Hey, I mean, it is what it is. It's hindsight being 2020, right?
Yep. And I mean, at the time, that was the best player you were going to get because, Matt Nichols got what he got from the Argos. And, here we sit now where the two have made a bit of a swap. The Red Blacks have
And to be fair, it's not like we got a bad player at 6. Like Leclerc was our 6 overall, like our first round pick, and would have what was his name, Jackson or Johnson, the first round pick last year, Jefferson out of North Carolina, right? North Carolina State. There's no guarantee that Ottawa would have picked him, right? So
and I mean, I think that they. Marcel Desjardins had a bit of a chat with Red Black season ticket holders, and he said that there was one of the receivers, I believe Toronto ended up picking him, that had he been on the board, that's who they would have picked. But other than that, Eau Claire was their guy.
Yeah, I think so. There's no guarantee that he would have been an Ottawa Red Black. Like it seemed like BC wanted their guy. So realistically, there's also no guarantee that Ottawa doesn't trade back down with BC to begin with. So
yeah, and it's interesting because at the time the Red Blacks had their quarterback and the defensive back they wanted. Win-win. Yes. Now looking back at it, you've moved on from Arbuckle. for whatever the reason, whether we believe that it was because Arbuckle didn't want the 2-year contract or, whatever, we believe that the money was an issue, whatever side you're on. But here you are, you have Anthony Auclair now, and you have Matt Nichols, which is still an upgrade over what you had in 2019. And not to, crap on, we got to pick.
Got to pick.
Yeah. Nelson Lacombo.
That makes sense.
That makes a ton of sense.
They love their Regina guys. It's why they signed the players they signed this offseason.
Yep.
They absolutely love their Regina players.
And it's a pick to try to help strengthen the defense that took a bit of a hit this year, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, losing Judge was probably the biggest hit.
And like, Charleston Hughes.
I mean, I love Charleston. I absolutely love Charleston. But realistically, I think Judge is the bigger loss than Charleston.
Well, you're going to feel both. They're both massive, catastrophic losses, at least on paper, whether you're kind of banking on Charleston to take a massive step back, which after we know that's not happening. Charleston's going to come out hungrier than ever, and he's probably going to have one of the best seasons of his career, if I had to guess. So
people thought he was going to take a step back when he ended up in Saskatchewan. Like when he left when he left Calgary, they thought he was going to take a step back.
Yeah. Good football players are good football players right up until they retire in many occasions. And I don't think he's going to be any exception. He's just an absolute freak. He's incredibly talented. He's really good at what he does. He's a huge loss, as you said. So is Cam Judge. Whether Lacombo can step in right away or not, still to be determined. We don't know. In many cases, they're not going to. But yeah, we'll just kind of wait and see. I mean, Lacombo makes a bunch of sense. He's kind of a homegrown talent for them, and just to put him back in the green and white, not a bad option.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I like the pick. I think it makes a lot of sense. Coming from who they lost in the offseason. And hey, they kind of addressed their line a little bit in the offseason. And you can always find solid offensive linemen late in the draft.
Yeah, of course. And you can find them signing guys after the draft as well. You've got 2 draft classes to look at here. And I don't remember exactly what their draft looked like in 2020.
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Just having some Microsoft Edge is giving me a hassle.
This is why you don't use Edge, man. You got to use Chrome.
I'm using Chrome. I'm using Firefox and Edge. I'm using all 3 right now.
I currently have 2 Chrome windows open.
I'm using all of them. So let's go back. So CFL Draft Tracker, we are on to 20. So Saskatchewan's first round pick, another Saskatchewan kid, obviously.
Yep.
Matlin Riley, 6'3" O-lineman, sitting at 300 pounds out of Saskatchewan.
Yeah. And then you got 2, 3, and 4 not picked, traded. Were they traded or did they get punished for something? I think they were traded, right? Saskatchewan.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they traded. Yeah, they definitely traded those picks.
Unless they got punished for salary cap stuff, maybe.
I don't think so. I think they literally just traded them.
Also, yeah, it may have been in the Zach Collaros trade there.
Because you had their 4th pick was a receiver, Kyan Schaefer-Baker out of Guelph.
Yes. Yep. Who we've heard lots of great things about as well.
Yes, we have.
So, 8th round pick, Neville Gallimore.
And they also and they had
Jesse Lawson.
Junior Allen was also their 4th round pick out of Guelph.
Yeah.
So 2 Guelph guys in the 4th round from Saskatchewan last year.
Yeah, and then Jesse Lawson in the 7th round. So there's another offensive lineman for you to work with. So
yeah, can we talk about how late Lawson went?
Sure.
Like I definitely thought Lawson was going to be like a 5 round. Like,
yeah, but we also thought that there was a chance that Cattell Essay would be going in the 1st round, and he got picked by Ottawa in the 8th round.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, that's because he was marketed as like a top end talent.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the CFL draft, man. You never know. You go into the NHL draft, you usually know who's going to go first overall. The guy that we just saw go first overall wasn't on any of the mock drafts, so it's it's a bit of a crapshoot, especially this year when nobody played football other than I guess Bert played with Boston College, but.
Well, he would have actually played with New England. He would have been on the practice squad.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right. But yeah, no game action, I guess, eh?
No, I don't think he got into a game.
Yeah. So, kind of an interesting, one very, very predictable pick, I'd say. And a very interesting first two picks, for sure.
Yeah,
I don't... What do you think Winnipeg's going to do?
I think Winnipeg goes O-line.
That
I
would
think
make
they
sense.
go O-line. I definitely believe that an O-line is probably their best bet. But who knows?
I don't know. Yeah. Logan Bandy's a guy that's projected to go up here according to these mock drafts.
I would not be surprised if it's him, but
yeah, number 8 here to Montreal, they have Pierre-Olivier Lestage. I think that is possibly something we'll see. Montreal loves to pick their Quebec guys.
Yeah.
And the TSN guys are predicting defensive line.
Really? I mean, I guess you wanna compliment
Willie Jefferson.
Yeah.
They still have Drake Nevis as well.
I think no, I think he went out to
Did he go?
Pretty sure he went out to
He did go to
BC.
Toronto. He did go to
He came from Toronto.
Oh my good God.
He went from Toronto to Winnipeg, but I think he ended up in BC after last during the offseason.
The Bombers have picked Liam Dobson, an offensive lineman out of Maine.
Okay.
Holy crap. 6'3", 340. He's from Ottawa. Transferred to Texas State. This guy's huge. Holy crap.
He's out of where is he? What's his name?
It is Liam Dobson. He's playing at Maine. They said he just transferred to Texas State, but he's from Ottawa. 6'3", 340 pounds, Shane.
Crazy. Big dude.
They just showed a picture of him on the broadcast. He looks horrifying. Let me see if I can find something and get it and show it here. He's terrifying. Oh my. Shane, this guy has a killer mustache. He has a killer mustache. I'm currently struggling heavily to get things to work.
Yeah, same.
I don't know what's happening here. Everything is pretty slow. Can I put that up? There it is. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's pretty scary. Yeah, as you said, though, the offensive line side for Winnipeg doesn't surprise me. You really need to protect Zach Collaros with all the injuries that guy's had over the last couple of years. And you don't have a safety net this year like you did last year with Strevler. You've got to protect him, because if you don't, you're in trouble. I couldn't even tell you who their backup quarterback is right now, Shane, but I promise you they won't win many games if he gets in.
Wow, optimistic.
Well, I mean, you're looking at, I don't believe he has any CFL experience. I'm gonna bring up the depth chart and quickly find out how stupid I am when I'm wrong. But you have to protect it.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think, if you're, let's see if I can pull up the stream for myself. Fucking duck.
Technical difficulties, always super, super fun to deal
Oh,
with when you're live.
it's always bound to happen with us.
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure.
Let's take a quick 5-minute, like a quick 2-minute break.
Yep.
We'll be back with the BC pick. Thank you all for tuning in so far. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter. Remember, check out also Customized Sports. The link is in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. 13th Man for 13% off your order. We'll be right back with BC's pick. So stay tuned. Cool. We're back.
You missed my dance move, Shane. I know you didn't look at me.
That's fine.
I was getting down.
I believe it. All right. I just needed to fix my lighting too. That made me so much better. I have the stream now going up beside me, so I won't be behind on anything. So we have the stream going on. Jake Burt is now joining the TSN guys. I'm still kind of surprised by that pick.
I am too, but when you kind of think about it, it makes sense. They don't necessarily need somebody to take up a roster spot this year, but I mean the fact that he's currently wearing a Tiger Cats hat and appearing on the panel kind of makes me think that maybe
I feel like he'll be at camp. I definitely feel like he'll be at camp.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys that get picked in the CFL that don't plan on coming wouldn't do this. So whether I'm reading too much into it or not, I don't know.
Also, the hat's clean. I'm not much of a white hat person.
Yes, have you seen the draft hats?
No, I have not. I have not.
That's Hamilton's, obviously.
But like that's a clean draft hat.
Yeah.
I feel like every year the draft hats are kind of crap, so I don't even bother anymore.
I will see if I can find the Red Blacks one just for you.
I'm looking it up. I don't know. Yeah, it's already on sale.
Yeah,
apparently.
I'll probably buy one. I mean,
I don't know. It looks boring. Like this one just kind of.
You know what? I'm still at the stage too where if they put something out, I'll buy it just because. I'm still in kind of support and save the CFL mode a little bit.
Yes.
So, honestly, it doesn't look too bad. They're not the most inspired things, I'll say, but I think it's good enough for me to want to wear.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what the Argos draft hat is,
Oh, dude, to get that boat logo on something. There we go. I like,
or
look,
even just the
I
A, like the simple A on it. Like,
get the boat, get the boat, get the boat, get the boat. I
I
hate
don't
the
know. I
Argos,
can't.
Shane. I hate the
Why?
Argos, because I'm a Red Blacks fan. Duh.
Okay. So this is where me and you are completely different because I grew up with no CFL football. I didn't grow up with I grew up watching the CFL, but I didn't grow up with a team. Like I was here, like I was like 6 to 9. Like that was my age group when the Renegades were around. You know, 03, 04, 05, I was 6, 7, or 6 to 8 actually. I was 6, 7, and 8 years old. So from the time I really started watching football to 14, so like from like 2000 and like 8 really. So those 6 years, I didn't have a team, so I didn't cheer for
Yeah.
any team specifically. So I don't hate any team specifically.
This is the important thing to distinguish, though. When I put my fan cap on, I hate everybody. Whoever the Red Blacks are playing, I do not like. Right? When I put on my 13th Man podcasting hat, the McLaren, yeah, see, it's a McLaren hat. Yeah, that's the one. I try to be neutral, and I mean, it's been very, very easy to kind of be neutral without football being played, and it's been very fun to just kind of go into things with a neutral point of view, I guess. But no, I don't like the Toronto Argos, but that boat logo was the best logo in the league.
Oh, I love the boat logo. I've been a huge fan of the boat logo. I still can't find. It doesn't look that they actually have like a draft cap, which is kind of disappointing.
They probably have one somewhere. I don't know where it would be.
I can't find it.
Yeah, I don't know. You said you were blind as a bat earlier, so
Yeah, because I don't even wonder if Lids would have it.
yeah. Anyway, Shane, BC Lions, easiest pick on the planet for an offensive lineman?
I would think so. Got to keep Mike Riley above.
You have to, and you didn't do it last year.
But they could also go on defensive side of the ball. Rick Campbell is is a dual manager, so who knows really what they do.
That's a good point, but also when Rick Campbell was the head coach of the Red Blacks, they only made one pick that wasn't an offensive lineman. I would be seriously surprised if they didn't go offensive line here.
Yes, I agree. But in counterpoint,
they didn't last year.
Also, he wasn't the GM.
Yes. But,
so
I mean, in the one first round pick the Red Blacks have had since he left, they didn't go defense or offensive line. So who knows really who? I mean, you know what? Honestly, they said he left because he didn't get any input on stuff. So
that's what I'm saying. Though. Like, who knows?
Yeah,
really
you know what? Though,
what's going on?
The fact that they didn't go offensive line in last year's first round kind of makes me think that they should go offensive line this time around if somebody is there that they like, which is always a big if. But I think that's a reasonable thing to expect right here.
Yeah, I think, a fourth, Brady or Brandy out of Calgary is probably the guy they should go after. But
so just looking back at the Lions draft from last year, they only drafted one offensive lineman, and it's Matt Gouvernement in the 5th round. Because if you remember, they picked Nathan Rourke in the second round, and then they picked Courtney Hammond in the 3rd round.
Does Nathan Rourke's brother go pro next year?
I don't know. Maybe he goes pro in a CFL, XFL.
Yeah, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that talk tonight.
Why? You don't want to piss everybody off in the comment section?
No, not really. Oh, we got a pick coming in.
We do.
DT, Daniel Joseph out of North Carolina State, heading to BC.
Look, I don't know much about him, Shane. But I do know that.
So he's brother to 2017 first rounder Faith Akaditi. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. My bad if I butchered that. But kind of surprising, but not really.
I'm just wondering where Mike Riley is going to get his protection from.
Again, it's a deep draft. It's a deep O-line draft. They have picks. they also didn't create a lot of pressure in 2019.
Yep, fair enough.
So it makes sense to go after, a front seven guy.
It does. I would, I personally, if I was in their shoes, would have wanted to go offensive line. But then again,
It's
it comes down to the
You always
question.
you get
Yeah.
solid offensive line in the 6th round, no problem.
It comes down to the question of, was there a guy that you liked more than Daniel Joseph? And I guess the answer was no.
I think they were expecting to be done in the first 2 picks.
What do you mean?
I think they were expecting him to be drafted.
Oh, potentially
before he was on the table.
Yeah, and he's a Canadian as well, I'm assuming.
I mean, yeah, I think everyone in this draft should be Canadian.
That's not true.
So, yeah. Pretty sure the CFL draft is only for Canadians.
Is it only? Oh, well.
I'm pretty sure.
Whatever. He's 25, though. So, yeah, that's an interesting one. BC's got to go offensive line a little bit more than they did last year. They have to, in my eyes. I just poor Mike Riley, man. If they don't find a way to protect him more than they did last year.
God damn, this camera sucks. I mean, yeah, O-line is definitely going to be an issue.
Yeah. What do we have left here in the first round? I mean, I can go back to this mock draft all I want because Logan Bandy was supposed to go second overall, and he's still sitting here.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Joseph was pegged in that number 1 spot in this mock draft again. How much does that mean? I don't know, because Katelase was number 3 last year, and he didn't go until the 8th round. So, I guess it's a kind of wait and see game with them. That pick might end up being really, really good. It might end up not being great, but we'll just kind of wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, it's also weird, not seeing Schultze part of this draft kind of sucks. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was part of last year's, but it's still kind of reflective on how much of a legacy he left.
Yeah. Kind of a tough one to bring up, Shane. Good job.
Nate Bahar going in 2017. Talk about a receiver that, a receiver skill position that was completely misdeveloped by Edmonton, in my opinion.
And I think, too, we could have had a bigger role with the Red Blacks as well. And I think that for whatever reason, they just didn't really give him a chance. And I believe that we, in the first, 8 weeks of the season, we saw Julian Fioli-Cadino trotted out there and continuously dropping footballs and, ended up getting cut eventually. But Nate Bahar wasn't really given the chance that he was given. And had he have been given that, maybe we're looking at a bit of a different Nate Bahar right now.
100%. And I think, people blame Desjardins for the way Ottawa was played, but don't realize that, he Campbell also made some very questionable decisions.
We got another pick here. That was quick.
Edmonton, yeah. I feel like after the first 3-4 picks, it should be
Cole
relatively
Nelson.
quick.
So, whoever built this mock draft that has Logan Bandy going? Okay, hold on. How far is Bandy going to go?
Oh, I think. Oh man. Ooh. Not gonna lie, that's sick. The 8 on the yellow helmet. Not gonna lie.
The Alberta logo, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he could drop. Who knows? Maybe Ottawa picks him here. Could be a Calgary pick. He's a dino. Could end up being a Calgary pick.
Yeah, I kind of, to be honest with you, I see the Red Blacks going receiver here because that's what they wanted last year. But then again, you've also brought in some guys. Anthony Coombs is a guy that's supposed to play running back, but who really knows? You brought in Jalen Saunders.
Coombs was supposed to get more receiver reps.
That's the thing. We don't really know what they kind of said that he might be used as a little bit of both. Jalen Saunders has been brought in. I'm blanking on some others as well.
I mean, that's really it. I don't think we had Sinopoli, we brought back Harris, added in Saunders, we had Coombs, we added in Flanders as a running back. We lost Crockett.
So maybe you decide to go with a receiver here. I think that still kind of makes sense for them.
Receiver or running back have to be.
Yeah.
Those are the two more logical positions.
Go Chuba Hubbard and try to prime at Carolina. Yeah. No, this is one.
Hey, maybe they go on off the board again. Like maybe they follow in the footsteps of Edmonton, go off the board and take local products to McKinda.
Maybe. I can't really see that, to be honest with you. I think Adelaide's probably a little bit later in the night, in the next couple of rounds here, but that would be. I'll be honest with you, Shane. I would love that. Alan's an awesome guy, and I'd love to have him in Ottawa.
He's a fantastic
I told him that so many times. Yeah,
he's a fantastic. But Ottawa's on the clock. I'm kind of curious on what happens with this.
Yeah,
they can go multiple different ways. Same with Toronto. Like Toronto has added a lot of like skill players in the offseason. I think Toronto will take an O-lineman.
Yeah.
I think Toronto takes the second lineman off the board.
Toronto picked an offensive lineman last year who was 6'9", didn't they? Am I crazy?
I believe so. I will check.
What was his name?
So.
What was his name?
Ooh, that's sexy.
Let me check.
I have it up already. So last year,
Dylan Giffen, 6'8", 346 pounds.
Yeah. They had the second pick, Brissett Dijon.
Yeah, that was the guy the Red Blacks were looking at.
Yeah, out of Virginia. Churchill Theron, out of Regina.
Another big offensive lineman.
Yeah, 6'6". Kind of butte. Then they had Jack Kaiser out of Carleton.
Yep.
Respect.
Samuel Achampong, a defensive lineman. Then Dylan Giffen at 6'8".
Yeah, Giffen was one that we talked to Zach and
Cody. Oh my God. They're gonna kill us. Dakota.
There we go. I blanket on names, but we talked and they both had high praise for him.
Yeah.
Like they thought he was the best lineman, one of the best linemen on the board.
Yeah. Huge. At 6'8", 346 pounds, you just look at a guy and you blast him into the moon.
Yeah. So Adam Auclair of Laval was Ottawa's first pick last year. Michael Huck, I can't pronounce his last name. My apologies. Out of Brown, D lineman, was Ottawa's second pick at 10th overall. And then Dan Basambombo, linebacker out of Laval, was also in the second round. He was Ottawa's third pick. Didn't have a third round pick.
Yep.
Jakob Scott.
Zot, isn't it?
Is it Zot?
He went to the Rams, did he not?
I don't think so.
I think Zot is with the Rams.
I think he signed, but he was released, so I'm not really sure. I haven't paid attention. I haven't seen much. But
was it Michael Heck?
But Heck's the one who signed with the Rams. I know that.
Yeah.
He signed with the Rams before the draft.
Yes.
But he was then later released. So
yeah.
I mean, we have
later in the draft too was the big win for the Red Blacks, I think.
Terrence Webster Abrahams was our fifth round. Brad Cohen, Ottawa born and raised.
Yeah. And then the last two picks
was
with
Rashawn
Davis and
Ottawa.
Say.
Yeah, out of Laval.
Yeah, and to me, those are the big potential steals of the draft down there. But we'll have to again wait and see. It's kind of the theme of the night, I guess.
Edmonton took Cole Nelson out of Alberta. I'm going to see if I can zoom in on this, make it a little bit clearer for some people. Didn't realize how bad it was. I thought it was just on my end. If I can zoom in. God. There we go.
We have a lot of NFL hate in our chat today.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I'm kind of confused. Also,
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of all football, you know. If you play football, there you go. Doesn't matter what rule set it is, just get on the field and play the sport, I guess.
yeah, I mean, so hopefully the zoomed up.
Oh yeah,
helps people.
that looks a little bit better, especially for me. I'm looking on a very, very tiny screen there because I have everything going on.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys can read it. I personally I love doing these. I love doing these little live shows for everyone. I think it's great. But yeah, like here's the thing. I hate the NFL for one reason, and it's because this is a no fun league. I really don't enjoy watching the games sometimes because the officials are garbage. The play is boring. You don't like people are like, oh, the pace of the game is so much faster. It's a 40-second play clock. It's a 40-second time clock. I'm sorry, you don't need 40 seconds to run a play, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's my issue with the CFL. I feel like if they sped the game up, kind of reduced the time clock, made special teams more important, it'd be a lot better. Another thing, you know, I got into a heated debate about this on draft night with the NFL draft is just a spectacle.
It is.
The NFL draft is just
Absolutely.
a spectacle. Our close friend at Pro Stats Canada is coming out with a book, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, kind of detailing.
I'm going to interrupt you here.
We have a pick coming in?
Yeah.
Cool. So Ottawa's on the clock. I'm a little bit behind.
They go linebacker. Deshaun Stevens.
Out of Maine.
Yeah.
From Toronto. He is joining Dobson.
Yeah,
Dobson.
tore his Achilles in 2019 that ended his season.
Ooh,
he's ranked 14th by Central Scouting.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But to be fair,
you know what?
Ottawa's linebackers haven't been that great.
But it's a crowded linebackers room, and I wonder is he allowed to go back to Maine for another season?
I don't think so.
But
like, is it really that crowded?
Yeah, but it kind of is. Let's check on it. The Red Blacks have a fat stack of linebackers.
To be fair, they're showing clips of him playing D end. So he's probably one of those guys that's a little bit versatile, can move back and forth between outside linebacker, like your will linebacker and a D end. So it gives Ottawa a little bit of versatility here.
Yeah, I think they're saying here that he's going to transfer and play another season in college, which I guess is good to know that. Yeah, okay. So they just said if nothing opens up for him in the NCAA, that's better. He will not go back to Maine. He would come to the CFL.
Okay.
But in terms of linebackers and guys that are, gonna make the team, I mean, you're looking at Avery Williams, you're looking at Gerard Fernandez, two guys that are going to be absolutely massive. Christoph Shaminga, or Mulamba Shaminga, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
He's there. Michael Cote is there. Dan Bosambombo, who that was the last year's draft.
Yeah, you have Rashad Davis. Like, it is technically a crowded room, but if he's willing to play D end, and it looks like he played D end in Maine, it gives you a little bit of versatility.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not overly concerned about it.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes right up to the CFL right away, that would be potentially big for them as well, whether he starts or if he sits on the bench, which is probably more likely, but would be interesting regardless.
To be fair, with Ottawa's health injury in the last couple of seasons at linebacker, not necessarily the worst pick.
That's another one. Bonu Namba is here as well. He can play a linebacker, although he's listed as a defensive back.
Yeah.
So that was who I was thinking of.
So Deshaun Brissett. No, so we're off to Toronto. Toronto is now on the clock. Deshaun Brissett, Theron Churchill, Shane Richards, who follows me on Twitter. So shout out to Shane Richards. You're the G. Ryan Hunter and Brian Jones are their last 5 first-round picks. They didn't have a first-round pick in 2017. I think they go D-line on this, but they could go I think they'll go O-line, honestly, but I think they should go D-line.
Yeah. And just to Dennis, my good sim racing buddy here, he's from the Netherlands, popped in to say hi, also to antagonize me because the Red Blacks drafted a Dutch player in the global draft. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. It's not in front of me. But Dennis, he hasn't played a game yet, and we haven't even seen what he looks like in person yet. So no comment.
That's fair. I don't know. I think O-line makes the most sense. They've lost a couple of O-line pieces. I know they've drafted a couple more, but I don't understand. I don't think people realize that Hamilton lost the Grey Cup in the trenches.
In the trenches, yep. Absolutely.
Kansas City lost the Grey Cup in the trenches.
Super Bowl.
That too. Sorry, the Grey Cup's just not much better than the Super Bowl.
Facts.
But they lost
printer.
in the trenches. Even arguably, when Ottawa won the Grey Cup, they won because of the trenches.
Ottawa won that Grey Cup.
Think about it.
I'd say Ottawa won that Grey Cup.
The Barkley tackle, the Kane shoelace tackle, only happens because they clog up the middle and force Barkley wider than he's usually goes.
Barkley.
He's no longer in the CFL. He retired and is now practicing medicine at Calgary University. So good for him. But that tackle only happens because the defensive line was able to that front seven was able to generate enough momentum to force him out wide enough.
Yep. And you are right, but I would also argue that Grey Cup was won more so because the Red Blacks
Jackson Juggle.
Literally just the Red Blacks wanted that game more. I think that was pretty obvious. From the moment that the teams came out on the field for warm-up, the Red Blacks were locked in. They were ready to go, and Calgary was on the other side of the field, dancing and screwing around.
To be fair, though, they came back in the second. They made it a lot closer.
They did, because that was a fantastic football team. But that Red Blacks team, despite the fact that they were 8-9-1, was just they were really good, and they were not going home to Ottawa without that Grey Cup. Not after what happened in Winnipeg.
Burris definitely willed themselves to that Grey Cup win.
Yeah, and playing with torn cartilage. The stories from that Grey Cup, I'm never going to get tired of. And Calgary fans that are listening.
This is why Harris is never going to win a Grey Cup.
Okay. The Harris slander on the show continues.
Well, no, think about it. Think about really. Think about that, the 2018 Grey Cup. All we've really heard from him was excuses as to why they played poorly.
No comment. I'm not allowed to hate on Trevor Harris anymore, I've been told.
Why? By who?
Everybody. No, but Trevor Harris I was very, very excited when the Red Blacks signed him because the guy is talented.
He is. He's fantastic. He has a great arm.
Then the butt happens.
There's
consistency issues. And those are going to have to be cleaned up before he wins a Grey Cup or wins an MOP or anything like that, right?
Yeah. I know people are like, oh well, he's been top 3 in receiving yards or passing yards and whatever. It's yeah, that's great, but the 2 guys ahead of him, Bo Levi and Mike Riley, have won a Grey Cup before.
Yeah,
and this is the thing, Mike Riley willed Edmonton to that Grey Cup win. In 2015, Mike Riley played one of the best games of his career.
Yeah,
Henry Burris played one of the best games of his career.
Not one of. the best and the ballsiest game of his life.
Yeah, like he played his best game as a CFL player in 2016 in that Grey Cup.
Yep.
You know, even 2017, Ricky Ray had one of his best games as a starting quarterback.
Yep.
And I think he won his like third or fourth Grey Cup. His fourth Grey
And I mean,
Cup.
you look at those ones too. Sorry, I got distracted by that comment that came through there. Those games for Ricky Ray and for Henry Burris were just labeled to be, excuses to just be given to them, right? Henry Burris tore cartilage in his knee and had to be put on essentially horse tranquilizers to get back on the field. The doctors couldn't believe he walked out of the locker room, let alone ran, right? Ricky Ray came into a stadium that was just an absolute snowstorm was coming on top of them. It's easy to give an excuse for those. We're talking about two of the greatest to ever do it in the CFL, right? If Trevor Harris wants to get to that level, which I think he's fully capable of, he's got all the talent in the world. He's got the arm for it. He just needs to figure out the consistency, and he's kind of got to be able to just take it the next step now.
Yeah, the weather wasn't great, but, Bo Levi had a good game.
Yep.
So, I don't know. And you
Winners
had a
win.
great –
Winners win.
It's just that simple.
Yep.
I want to see him in this new offense. I think he'll do well in this new offense. I'm going to need a new Edmonton jersey anyways, so getting a Derek Dennis or a Jonathan Rose one, maybe both, depending on if they change anything up on it. I might just get both. I might say screw it, get both of them. We'll see what happens. Oh, Argo's pick is on the board. Are they up, or are they still talking about it?
Peter Nicastro, offensive line. Wow.
Interesting. Calgary, University of Calgary product, 2019. It looks like he only had 1 year. It looked like he only started in 2019.
Am I crazy, or is he kind of small?
He's a guard, so it's fine.
6'1", 306. I mean,
he's a guard, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Smaller, center of gravity, not the worst thing you want from a guard.
Yeah, I think it'd just be one of those guys that. Yeah, I mean, again, we'll go back to that mock draft. That kind of means nothing, I guess. But
yeah, the mock draft.
Yeah, I mean that's the issue that we run into is you can scout whoever you want. No guarantee they're even going to be picked. Just because they're high in the rankings doesn't mean they're going to go, right?
Yeah. So it sounds like Nicastro's
that would be Logan Bandy.
Yeah, Logan Bandy's a tackle, I believe, and then Nicastro's a guard. All right. So it is a little bit different. I wouldn't be surprised if Calgary takes him though. They've lost a couple of their linemen. I would not be surprised to see Bandy here again for Calgary.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm just trying to see if I can find where they had Nicastro going. And I don't think they had him at all.
So Rob, I don't think he's necessarily a better pick considering I think they picked 2 tackles last year and they also signed some that they have tackles. Their guard depth, they lost McEwen to Calgary as a guard. So they have to address their guard depth. I don't necessarily think it's a better pick. It just fits it's more of a fits a better role for Toronto. I think if Calgary was at 7 and Toronto is at 8, you probably would see Bandy at 7 and Nicastro at 8.
And I mean, from all the things that we've heard about Giffen as well, I mean, I don't think he'll step in instantly, is what we were told. But
hey, with this being an off year, you never know. He works on it, gets stronger. He could step in as a day one starter at guard.
Yep, and I mean, from everything that Dakota and Zach told us, like they've been very, very high on him. I wouldn't be overly surprised if that were to be the case, where he got in and potentially maybe he's a backup role next year. Maybe he gets a couple starts here and there when guys are injured. But I mean, he's got the frame to be a very successful offensive lineman in the CFL.
It's like Matt O'Donnell. He's like 6'11", and he
Yeah.
just had a Hall of Fame career. I don't think he's retired yet. I think he's still out there as a free agent. I think he's going to be one of those guys that might sign closer to the start of the season. But, you know, if I'm looking for a guard, like if I'm Ottawa looking for a guard, because honestly, our line depth, Ottawa's line depth isn't the greatest. It's not like it used to be.
It's not the worst, but it's
not the worst, but it's not great.
It could stand to be benefited a little bit for sure.
So if you can sign Donald, and you friggin' do it.
Yeah.
But
so Rob says that Nick Castro is not even rated in the first round, and I mean that's fair, but also at the same time, a lot of the guys who are drafted today go way out of order from where they were projected to go. And I mean, if we look at the guy that went first overall, I can't remember.
It wasn't even a top 3 round.
Wasn't even ranked at all in the mock drafts. But it's just a matter of what a team might be looking for. It's a matter of what a team had, especially this year. What did you have the ability to watch? If you didn't have a chance to look at, we'll go with the Bandy situation. If you didn't have the ability to watch him and be confident in him, Nick Castro might be your option, and that could potentially be the case for the Argos. Yeah,
I mean, I would be surprised if they didn't. They played on the same team.
They did,
but it's also what they're looking for. Like he says, if they're looking for a guard, then it's the best. If he's the best guard available, you take him.
Mm-hmm.
It's realistically, I would be surprised to see anyone but Bandy here at 8 for Calgary. But again, we haven't taken. I've taken a gander at some of these prospects, so take our word with a grain of salt. Obviously, we're not the most educated on these guys. There's not a lot of film available for your average day Joes. We don't have the access that 3 Down Nation or the CFL have, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta remember too. A lot of it's not like junior hockey, stuff like that. A lot of the film that is created is done by teams and the schools.
We got a pick coming in. We got a pick. Oh, damn. So number 8, Amin Ogbin. I'm not even going to try pronouncing that name. Offensive lineman out of Oklahoma State, 6'5", 318.
Yeah.
So he also played defense. So I don't know if is he a defensive lineman? He's a defensive lineman. They just miscalculated. He's a linebacker defensive lineman. Apparently TSN had him as an offensive lineman. So interesting pick. It
is. And I wonder, is Bandy our 2021 Kittel Essay?
Probably. Could
in the way that, I mean, if you remember last year, I got pretty excited when Essay went to Ottawa in the 8th round, because he was that guy. Like, I was trying to DM him on Instagram and try to get a figure and a handle on what was going on. But, that could very well happen again tonight. I won't get too ahead of myself because he could still go in the first round here. There's still one more pick, but that's a story to watch tonight for sure.
Yeah, like okay, so they're projecting him as an O-lineman on the TSN show. He's not. He's a linebacker, as you can see on our screen. 6'1". He is jacked. This dude's he's ripped. He looks like a lineman. Like, he looks like a defensive lineman linebacker situation. Could be an official replacement for the guy killing it in Philadelphia right now in Alex Singleton.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing too is he's a linebacker in the U.S. He could switch theoretically to become a defensive lineman here. So essentially, wherever Calgary's going to need him is where he's going to play.
Yeah, I think he's versatile enough. Like, I talked about it on Twitter with Montreal's punter about how there's a lot of, like, the word combo is thrown around a lot by, like, coaches and agents and players. This guy is the definition of a combo player. He He can play linebacker. He can play edge. You can have him. He seems quick enough to play on your as the same linebacker.
Yeah. Yep.
So
and if you need him to move down to play defensive line, you can do that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. We have Hamilton on the clock. I don't know what they do here. You know, they have Mason Bennett as a D-line and Coulter Woodmansey as an O-line from last year. They picked a tight end at first. Do they go another O-lineman? They picked 3 last year. They also picked Jesse Gibbons and Darius Sirocco.
Am I crazy to say that maybe they want to go defensive back or linebacker if there's one available to them?
I don't know.
I mean, we haven't seen Ben Vladeck go off the board yet.
I'm just going to say this real quick. This is the 3rd time in 4 drafts that Hamilton has had 2 first-round picks.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's because Johnny Manziel happened.
Like, man, I don't even know. I think, you know, do you go quarterback? I mean, obviously, but think about it. You have if you're looking at someone who doesn't have to step in next year, if there is a quarterback that you like that is available,
but who?
Why not?
But who? I mean, if there was somebody, we probably would have heard about it.
Probably not. TSN doesn't really like to talk about these guys.
Yeah, but the CFL wouldn't. I mean, Nathan Rourke was a big story last year.
True.
So,
screw it. Go off the board and just pick some random quarterback that's available.
I think we're gonna see linebacker here.
I'm gonna say running back. Oh well, we have the pick coming in. Linebacker Nick Cross out of UBC. In 2019, first team All-Canadian, led U Sports and tackles in 2019 with 66.5. Okay, so I remember. So he was suspended for 2 months for a positive test of cannabis in 2018. So I'm sorry, but what?
Okay, look, anybody who tests positive for cannabis is kind of a joke. But anyway, Rob says it's not a quarterback heavy draft this year, is it? Never is. Never is. Quarterbacks do not come out of this draft. And if you've followed the CFL for any length of time, you'd know that. I mean, last year Nathan Rourke got picked. I can't remember the last time. I mean, we don't have Canadian starting quarterbacks for the most part, so just is what it is. Eventually it's going to happen. But yeah, not surprised Hamilton going linebacker. I think that makes a fair bit of sense for them. Shane, I'm going another prediction here.
All right, because this is Montreal's first pick of the 2021 draft. This is huge. Montreal's first pick. We're starting round 2. I'm saying they go receiver.
Montreal is going offensive line, Pierre-Olivier Lestage.
Is he out of Montreal? Is he a Caravan?
He is.
Yeah, okay. I think so. I agree with that.
I just, Montreal's kind of established themselves that way. I believe the GM used to be the general manager for the Caravans, correct?
Yep.
So this is a player that he's probably very familiar with, probably, likes him if he brought him into the program. I honestly can't see them going a different direction.
That would make a lot of sense, so it's not happening.
Oh, Shane.
Oh my! I thought we were talking about hockey for a second.
I'm hanging up right now. I'm done.
Hey, I'm just saying.
No.
Thank you for Mete, by the way. He's a real keeper.
Mete stunk in Montreal, okay?
Because your coaches suck.
Okay, this is this is kind of something that we both agree with. It's difficult to follow the CFL in the States.
ESPN and ESPN Plus, baby.
Yeah. Yeah,
Those are the two places.
Honestly, Rob,
or follow us. We're talking about CFL all the time.
all the time. Coverage is limited here too, honestly, and it's kind of a shame that TSN is treating the CFL the way they do. I mean, we're going to see it after the second round here tonight. I believe they shut this off, right? And they changed the stream to CFL.com.
I think so.
So it kind of sucks. Like the CFL is kind of TSN's toy that they kind of threw out because they don't like playing with it anymore, like a 4-year-old does. But it's, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it plenty in the past. They've got to figure out a way to promote themselves a little bit better. And I mean, I hope the XFL route isn't the route they have to take, but it is a route they can take.
Yeah. Again, I think this is a pick for Rob saying that he can't follow the league, that's limited. Yeah, I know for sure. ESPN, ESPN Plus, they should show, I think, about roughly, I think it's 60% of the season now, excluding the preseason, and they show all the postseason games plus the Grey Cup.
Yeah, but it is a little frustrating, right? Like I remember I went to New York City a couple of years ago, and I wanted to watch the Red Blacks and Riders. I think that was the game that Trevor Harris got hurt in, and Brock Jensen had to play. So, my passion when I'm watching a game where Brock Jensen is quarterbacking the team. Love you, Brock, but we couldn't. We had to FaceTime one of our buddies in Ottawa and watch it on his iPad where he had it pointed at his TV. It was bootleg. It's not good, right? They've got to figure out a way that we can, watch games in the States, whether it's a paid service, whether it's, getting, games on DAZN or, Amazon or Netflix or whatever they can do, they got to do something.
Okay,
Homer pick. Yes,
2019,
Homer pick.
So 2019, it was announced that every game from the Canadian Football League will be available live to fans in the United States through a new multi-year agreement with ESPN Plus, the league announced. So actually, a minimum of 20 games, including one divisional final in the Grey Cup, will be televised on ESPN networks, with more than 65 regular season games available exclusively on ESPN Plus, the direct-to-consumer subscription streaming service by Walt Disney Company's direct-to-customer and international segment in ESPN.
This is something that there are so many fans of the CFL in the States that watch a couple of games and they fall in love with it. The fact that we can't find a way to get, especially when the NFL is not playing, right? We need to find a way to potentially capture some of that market.
Yeah, so it does sound like now the CFL will be accessible on ESPN and ESPN Plus all season long in the States. That's what it sounds like. You can subscribe to ESPN. They'll have a minimum of 20 games plus one the playoff game, the divisional round, and the Grey Cup on the main ESPN channels, and everything else will be on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
I shared the agreement article from the CFL in the chat, so you guys can follow it. If not, literally just look up CFL to be on ESPN Plus and ESPN, or ESPN Plus and ESPN, CFL on CFL.ca, and it should pop up.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully, we see people want to watch the game because it's a fantastic brand of football. And I mean, a lot of Americans kind of put it down and say that it's not, but those people also haven't watched the game. And I mean, Rob's not the only one. There's some pretty, popular people on Twitter that are just American CFL fans. And for whatever reason, we love to see it. So.
Because the CFL is better than the NFL. When you watch the actual game, like I've said it multiple times, and I'm going to continue to say it, if you strip the television market and like they tell like the production value of the NFL and literally just watch game for game the on-field product, CFL is 10 times better. If TSN if Bell put more money into the production side of the CFL and made the more pregame stuff, actually put the because how many times is it 7:00 game, you jump right into the game, there's no pregame.
Yeah,
if you made a pregame show, you would actually, like, if you were to put a little bit more money, just a little bit, not a lot, a little bit more money into this TSN production, you'll see people want to watch it more.
And I mean, we're thinking about other things that TSN does. The World Juniors is the perfect example, because all the time we hear, oh, it's only Canada. Like for the CFL, it's only Canada. Why should we care? The World Juniors is only Canada, right? People in the States don't care. People in Europe care a little bit. Like this is a Canadian tournament. We are the only country that dives fully head first, and we support our country in massive numbers, and we sell out the arenas, NHL size, like 20,000 people, right? TSN does a fantastic job of promoting that. They do a fantastic job with that tournament as a whole. They could do the same with the CFL.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, for us, this is where the CFL kind of lacks. It's like, I think for us, we've talked about doing pregame shows, like a half-hour pregame show on a Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday to kind of fill in those gaps. And I don't know if you guys would like that, but
whether they like it or not, Shane, I think we'll do it.
Hey, but I mean, if you guys want to see it, that'd be great. We do a pregame show, kind of break down each matchup. I think that'd be a fun way to do it, get more people involved. And if it means that we, the non-affiliated news, fans are the ones that bring it, at least it's getting out there. At least people are getting to see it, and they'll be able to kind of be like, oh, what's going on here? And then we can let them know, hey, if you're in the States, ESPN Plus, check it out, kind of thing. And that's kind of what the goal of for us is right now.
I mean, it's not even like we know there's an appetite, right? It's something that we want. I want to see. Well, okay, we have a pick here.
Oh, yeah. So, Frankie, you were right. Pierre-Olivier Lestage out of Montreal, offensive lineman.
Shane, of course I was right.
6'2",
look,
295. He was invited to 3 American Bowl games, including the East-West Shrine Bowl.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, Shane. That was the easiest prediction I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I mean,
easy. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not surprising whatsoever. That is literally the most obvious pick of the entire night.
Yeah, I mean,
other than maybe Nelson Lacombo.
Yeah,
but this seems more evident.
Yeah. So, I think we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Calgary back on the clock. So we'll be taking a quick break. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay around, and we'll be back shortly. All right, we are back. Thank you all for staying with us through the first 2 rounds. So we are going to wrap it up after the second round. Unfortunately, we can't do all 6 rounds, but you can follow us on our Facebook and Twitter pages to kind of keep in the loop with all the draft picks. We will be live tweeting each pick and our reactions a little bit longer. We'll also recap the entire draft late, probably either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on schedules. I know Frankie
We will not.
is going to be
I will
having
not
his
be talking this week.
Okay, so we'll review it next week. We'll review it next week when Frankie is done with his
I'm gonna look like a
wisdom
chipmunk.
teeth.
So yeah.
I mean, more of a chipmunk.
Hey, that's the second time I'm about to leave.
I mean, you can leave. That's fine. It'd be unfortunate. It'd be an unfortunate way to end the show.
Very, very, very unfortunate way.
But yeah, we will be live tweeting it and live posting it on Twitter, on Facebook as well. After we get off it, after the second round, we both have lives, unfortunately, and then we don't get paid. But with that being said, if you do want to support us and make this kind of more of a time thing, you can head over to our Redbubble page and check out all our merch on there. We have different colorways for you, different merch. We got phone cases. I know Frankie has one from our old logo.
I do. I gotta get a new one because it's kind of a little bit old now with our old logo, but
yeah. So Frankie has that. We have shirts. We have towels, pillows, duffel bags.
we have a shower curtain, for God's sakes.
Yeah, we have shower curtains. We have shower mats. We have throw blankets. We have friggin' comforter blankets if you want it. We got stickers, laptop covers, regular bags, all that kind of stuff.
Have you seen the Redbubble stickers at all?
No, but I've seen one of the bags. My brother-in-law or girlfriend's brother-in-law bought one of our bags, and it was relatively nice.
Quick sidebar, actually, the Redbubble stickers. I've been like on a mission to find all of the funniest F1 quotes, and I've been sticking them to the back of my laptop. Calgary's got a pick.
Calgary's in, picks in.
Bryce Bell, offensive line out of Laurier.
Interesting. Back-to-back
It is.
linemen. And not Bandy out of Calgary.
Yeah. All right, Catalase, move over. We got Bandy joining you for
that's not good.
What?
Laurier led OUA in sacks allowed at 23, and then rushing yard, House had the most rushing yards. So I don't know if that's a good stat or not. I want to know how many
Doesn't mean it's his fault.
I know. I want to know how many sacks he led up, not how many sacks the team led up. How many sacks came from the right tackle spot?
Yeah. Okay, that's actually big. They mentioned he can play center as well. So
mobile, versatile.
yeah,
That's a great pick.
The more spots you can play on the offensive line, obviously, is very helpful because we have seen in the past that sometimes the opening that comes up is not in your position.
Hey, if any GMs you can play end up watching this, shoot me a message. I can play guard, center, tackle.
Dude, always promoting.
Hey, let me come out for a tryout. I'll wow you guys. Let's do it. Hey, don't get mad at me promoting. It's not. Hey,
you know what? Honestly, we I guess we can kind of tie last week's interview with Sebastian Boucher into the CFL. I wonder, because usually in a normal year we have the open tryouts. I have a feeling those are not going to be a thing this year. So,
probably not.
How many players really truly come out of a walk-on scenario and make a team? Probably not many, but those kind of players can end up on your practice squad, and then from there they can elevate themselves up, I guess. But that's just one less opportunity for players to make it into the league this year, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, we only had it in the States, so
yeah, yep. But only in the States is better than nowhere, I guess.
That's true. If Ottawa, if the Red Blacks or Montreal or Toronto or even Hamilton were like, oh, we're going to hold open tryouts for people in this area or in the surrounding areas, you bet your ass that I would be at every single one of them as long as they were on the same day.
No, even if they were on the same day. If they're at different times, you get there.
Yeah, if Ottawa had one on like a Friday, Montreal had one on a Saturday, and Toronto had or on a Saturday, Toronto had one on a Sunday, I'd be at all three. Don't care. At all three.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, okay. I guess we'll go back to the draft. I mean, other than Shane, actually, are you getting a call right now from the Toronto Argonauts?
I wish. Maybe I'll shoot Hughes a message and see what he can do for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still have to get you run over by him.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do it at the during practice with the Argos.
Yes, we're still gonna make that happen somehow. I don't care. We're gonna get you and Charleston on a field together, like he said he would. He said he would humiliate you if I remember
That's
correctly.
fine. I am totally fine getting humiliated by one of the best players to ever play in the CFL.
Look, it's going to be recorded. When that happens, it'll be on our YouTube, it'll be on our Twitter, it'll be on our Facebook. And I'm going to retweet it every single day, and it's going to be our pinned tweet.
Pros versus Joe's CFL style.
It's a pretty good idea, actually. I kind of like it. Once COVID's done, we'll make something happen, okay?
Pros versus Joe's CFL style. I do not care. I'll get humiliated. I'll get humiliated. I don't care.
I want to, you know what? Honestly, what I would love to see is, we see all the time people, whining, complaining about how somebody played. I want to get a CFL receiver, and I want to line them up against like some random dude who thinks he could defend them, and I want to watch this guy just drop yards on the guy's head. I want to line up a CFL DB against some random dude, and I want to watch him get clamped. I want to, I don't know how we could make that happen, but Shane, you know what? I decided it's going to happen.
No, 13th man, pros versus Joe's CFL style. Do like the what the Bears did with the restaurant in Chicago, where they made people kick a 46-yard field goal, and if you hit it, you got free food.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone hit it.
Look, no, not a single person hit it because it snowed on that day, if you remember, and the little turf patch they were kicking on was covered in ice. So everybody was running up and planting and falling. You know what, Shane? We talk about things like that all the time that we could do, and eventually, when COVID's done, we're going to have the opportunity to do them.
Yeah.
And I honestly, if you're watching and you have an idea of something you want us to do, we would love to. I mean, we've had
Frankie and I go one-on-one.
Not a chance. We've had conversations about having CFL players that like cooking.
A cooking show.
I would love to.
Charleston Hughes cooking hour.
I would love to get us on camera. Me, you, and Charleston Hughes, whatever. Charleston gives us a recipe and directions how to cook something, and then we have to do it.
All right, so it looks like we have the Toronto pick coming in. O-lineman out of New Mexico State, Sage Doxtator. 6'7", 350.
Holy crap.
Looks like he plays left tackle. 26 starts in New Mexico State.
Shane, they're going to be trucks.
So he plans on returning for his senior year, and he was the 2016 Sun Belt All-Newcomer team.
Shane, this guy.
Yeah, this is going to be the line that Winnipeg or Edmonton won in 2005, where the shortest, or 2015, where the shortest guy was 6'4".
This guy and Dylan Giffen are
manning the tackles. Oh man, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. These guys, if they were a little bit skinnier, would be playing basketball. That's the range that we're playing
talking about, right?
Yeah, these guys are big guys.
I wonder if this is the guy that Rob was talking about, because he made a tweet out or in the comments earlier. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, Farhan is saying that he got a text that says that he is the best offensive lineman in the class, but he is a future. So, look, if the Argos are quite clearly,
and it sounds like he is going back to New Mexico State.
Yeah,
So he's not going to play.
But the Argos are clearly trying to build from the trenches.
You win in the trenches.
Absolutely. You get your quarterback. I mean, they have Arbuckle. That's who they think is going to win them championships. Like, if you can protect him, anything can happen. Any quarterback can be made good with time.
Yeah, like I don't care how many times I have to say it. I will say it every game. I will say it every day. You win the trenches, you win the game. It's that simple.
Yep, absolutely. Ottawa's on the clock. Okay.
Ottawa's sitting on the clock. We got 13, 14, 15 coming up. So we got 6 picks left in the second round, starting with the Red Blacks. I think they go receiver here.
Terrell John is still on the board as well. Yeah.
So Rob points this out. Playing time. You know, if he can go start at New Mexico State University for another year versus potentially riding the pine for Toronto, it also guarantees us a season because realistically, the CFL hasn't really committed outside of saying, "Oh, we're going to play." You know, there's still question marks around if they're actually going to play in August. So going back to New Mexico State just guarantees them a season because the chances of New Mexico State playing right now are higher than the CFL.
Yeah, and I mean, that's mostly only because we know the NCAA already doesn't care about COVID. They're just going to keep going through with it. And I mean, it's also the U.S. They have a ton of vaccines already. Also, I'm trying to watch TSN currently speak to Nelson Locombo, and they have no volume. So they had to click off and continue on without that. So
Ottawa is second round on to their second pick of the night. I think they go receiver, but who knows with this team?
Yeah, and I mean, Terrell John was the guy that was mocked to them at number 6. And again, I mean, I bring up the point of they wanted a receiver last year. That was what they were looking at, and their guy ended up being taken, so they settled with Eau Claire. So, I can 100% see them going receiver.
Oh, it looks like Ottawa's pick is already in. DB, Alonzo Ade out of West Virginia. 5'10", 190 pounds, 66 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble in 2020. He transferred from New Hampshire. His cousin, Jalil Ade, plays safety for the Chargers.
Yeah. Interesting. 2 defensive picks for the Red Blacks. That, I don't hate it. I really don't. It's nice to see them not go offensive line early and often.
To be fair, we've also had a lot of health issues in our secondary the last couple of years. For
sure. Absolutely. And he's coming out of I wouldn't say that West Virginia is a small football school either. Like that's a sizable school.
Yeah. So Rob, I think, right, if you were to ask most people, I think most people feel confident that like there's a 95% chance there's a CFL season in August, but there's still that 5% chance. So until they actually come out and say, okay, training camps are going to start on this day, players are going to report on this day, and we get that confirmation from the league, people are going to still focus on that 5% instead of the 95%. So if you're a player who has the ability to go back to school, instead of riding the pine, you're going to do it.
I mean, what we're really waiting for, too, is for people to be able to go back into the stands. And what Randy Ambrosi said is a considerable percentage of people, right? In the States, you guys have had packed stadiums already. I don't think we've had a sporting event yet outside of the Maritimes with anybody at it. Am I wrong?
Nope, you are correct.
The Maritimes have had people at junior hockey games, and that's it. And it's been very, very small crowds.
And Nova Scotia just canceled the women's hockey championship.
Which makes no sense, by the way. We talked about that last week.
I don't agree with it. But, hey, you know what?
The show's going on somewhere else, which is good.
They're playing it this year in August. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It'll be played somewhere else.
There's a potential it's in Ottawa. Probably.
If it's in Ottawa, I want to talk. If If it's at OSEG, I'm going to talk to Chris.
It's not. It's not. I've heard that the group that is hosting it is not the Senators and it's not OSEG, so it's somebody else.
Well, I know the city is the one that called about it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it won't be it'll have to be at TD Place or at the Canadian Tire Center.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But either way, I mean, it's kind of
honestly, I feel like it's better that the city called about it versus because now you don't have to go through the city. You don't have to call the city and be like, "Hey, we want to do this." The city's already done it.
Yeah. Back to Rob's point, though, we haven't seen any crowds, right? We have to get to a point where there's enough people in it to make it financially suitable or financially viable for a season to happen. Because with empty stadiums, the CFL's it's cheaper for them to not play. So that's not an option. There has to be some kind of crowd. Otherwise, we're sitting again.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think the CFL would benefit from sitting for a second year.
Well, I mean, then we get to the point of, before last season was canceled, we were talking to guys like Dave Naylor, who said that a second canceled season in a row could very well spell the end of the CFL. And I mean, he's recently, I believe, come back on that, if I remember correctly. I don't want to say that for certain without being positive about it, but I believe that's the case. So, I mean, again, the theme of the night is wait and see, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with the league as a whole.
Yeah, basically. So we're on to Edmonton. We got 5 picks left in the second round. Hopefully they start coming in kind of a little bit quicker.
Usually they don't start coming in quicker until after the second round.
Yeah.
But you know what, honestly, at least it's not the NFL where they have to have somebody come up and sit in Roger Goodell's chair and they get 10 minutes to make a pick. It's
4 hours for 32 picks.
It's ridiculous.
To be fair, we're hitting on 2 hours for 18 picks, so I don't.
We also did start 30 minutes before the draft.
Yeah, but the draft started at 7. It's 8:45. We're sitting at 2 hours for the draft right now for 18 picks.
Yeah,
that's a little rough, but it makes 4 hours for 32 picks a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why drafting has to be such a long process. You have your draft board, right? If the guy at the top, or if you have 2 guys and the guy that's number 1 is gone, well, you're going to pick number 2. You put them in that order for a reason.
Yeah, right? But that's why. But okay, so Nelson's coming back on. By the looks of it on TSN.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue was.
It gives the teams, time to the guys on TV to talk about it. But unfortunately, Keith, to answer your question, no, we aren't going for the long haul tonight. I have a 6-month-old to take after the second round, and Frankie has to head on home from his grandparents. So we will not be sticking around for the entire 6 rounds, but you can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, where we will be live tweeting and live posting the picks. And then next week, when Frankie isn't looking like a chipmunk, we will be back to kind of break down the full 6 rounds a little bit more in depth. It gives us a little bit of time to actually look over some of these players now that we know who's going where. So you can catch us back here next Tuesday at 7:30, our usual time, and we'll talk about the CFL draft as well.
Yeah.
So Edmonton's pick, another Calgary product, another Calgary Dino product off the board, Grant McDonald, linebacker.
And it's another Calgary product that isn't Logan Bandy.
Thank you, Keith. We appreciate all the support. This is a lot of fun for us, something that we don't really do very often in terms of hosting something like this. But we appreciate all the support from everyone who has tuned in and talked with us through our messages on YouTube and on Twitter. Remember, and or on Facebook. Remember, follow us on YouTube, please, or subscribe. Give us a like, share it after. We'd greatly appreciate it. Helps grow the channel.
Oh, I love man, all the love.
All the love today,
through.
guys. It's so nice.
And
Thank you
it
so
hasn't even
much.
just been today, man. Like our account, I guess, after the CEBL stuff started, has kind of exploded. And I mean, we hit 400 followers the other day, which, I mean, that's to me is huge, because it's just a position that a couple years ago we only started last year around this time.
Yeah, we started last April. It's been just over a year where we started talking about the CFL, and then we just decided to switch over to all sports.
We haven't even had a CFL game yet. And, the support, like, I feel like once we get to some actual football, things might get, even better for us, which, I'm so excited to actually be able to cover live events. We'll talk about the CEBL when that gets here too. All the teams have been fantastic with us so far as well, especially the Saskatchewan Rattlers. They seem to love us so far.
We're both take 2XL. We'll gladly take some jerseys. We'll rock them on the show. We'll pump them out. We'll put in, the links and whatnot.
Speaking of jerseys, where can I get a Carleton Ravens or Saskatchewan Huskies jersey?
I don't think their actual football jerseys are for sale.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want one.
But if anything, it's going to be
cool.
like the bookshop.
Yeah.
Like it like their bookshop kind of thing. Let me see.
Let me just DM Nelson Lacombo and just ask him for one of his.
Yeah, their bookstore. I wonder if that would have it. I don't think so. I think they only have their rugby stuff. But like Carleton's, Carleton's stuff is really nice. Yeah. So dude,
those helmets. If I could have a Carleton Ravens helmet, I would buy one.
Okay. So I know for a fact that the sports or the Source of Sports in Barrhaven used to sell some Carleton stuff. I don't think they still do, but I know they used to. But it looks like right now the only jersey that Carleton has is like a Carleton Ravens like baseball style jersey. It's a Southpaw baseball jersey.
Damn it. Yeah, I want a Ravens helmet pretty bad. Even the ones that they have now are so cool. The matte black with like the Raven eye and the beak. The ones that they had with the wings that kind of looked like the Salt Lake City Stallions or whatever they were in the AAF.
Yeah,
those style helmets that they had with like the wings that came up from the ears were super cool.
Yeah, right now it looks like only these like Southpaw baseball jerseys are available for sale. Personally, I would love to grab a Carleton Ravens jersey. They're sick.
Yeah,
that or an Ottawa GG's ones. They're both awesome.
Look, when we get back to playing football next year and we can have fans in the stands, Shane, you and I will be at as many Ravens and GG's games as we possibly can. So
100%.
Like if the Ravens play it at like 1:00 or whatever, and then the GG's play at 7, I'm at both games. I promise.
Luckily, OUA is very good at not scheduling both teams at home at the same time or on the same day. So luckily, we're in that boat. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it just you can't avoid it. But generally speaking, they try to avoid it. The Panda game is really the only game where you'll see both teams in Ottawa at the same time because they're playing against each other.
I mean, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you know a little bit more about that than I would because this, like, really the next chance that I have to be getting into U Sports football is going to be the first time that I kind of jump at it. I intended to go to a couple of games in 2020, and I wanted to go to a couple in 2019, but it never happened.
I try going to 2 each a year minimum.
We got BC.
BC's in. Alaric Jackson, Iowa, 6'5", 310. Started 42 games at left tackle in his career in Iowa. Second team AFCA All-American team in 2020. 3-time All Big Ten All-Star team.
And he did sign as an undrafted free agent in the NFL as well. So this might be a bit of a futures pick for them because he's definitely not going to be with them up until Well, I guess rookie camp for NFL, but I'm not too sure when that would be.
Yeah, probably sometime in July.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Larry
Off to the
Jackson,
Rams.
yeah. Decide, but again, one of those guys that could easily be let go, but after camp. So, this is definitely a future pick. This is definitely a we like you, we want your rights, and if they if he doesn't come, he doesn't come. It's not the end of the world. But if he does, he could be a game changer.
Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier with the home run picks, right? If he comes, fantastic. You've got a great player, but if he doesn't, you won't really guaranteed him anyway.
Yeah, there's no actual guarantee with him.
Yeah.
So, but again, guys, for all you guys who followed us tonight, we very much appreciate it. If you're following us on YouTube, we greatly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and like and share the video. It would be awesome for us if you did that. Obviously, you don't have to, but it'd be great. You also hit the notification bell. All our episodes are live streamed on YouTube. They also posted the day after on YouTube, so if you don't miss an episode, well, you'll be notified when we're live, and you'll also be notified when the video is live for you to watch.
Yep. And I don't think this one won't be going out in podcast form, but normally our episodes do go out in podcast form the following day as well. Apple, Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, not on SoundCloud, not yet. I think SoundCloud is requiring us to pay or whatever, so we're not appointing them. But
it's on Google Podcasts, stuff like that.
Everything other than SoundCloud, and if we aren't on something, let us know and we'll see if we can get it there.
Yeah. But again, we greatly appreciate all the support, guys. So we got 3 more picks before we call it a night. We got Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and Hamilton coming up on the board. Honestly, I don't even know who they go for. These 3 teams could go way off the board. Hell, Hamilton could pick Chuba Hubbard at this point, and no one would question it because they really don't have any holes to fill at that 18 spot that they can't fill later in the draft. They're literally 18-19 right now. So like you see, these 3 teams literally pick the first 3 picks because of the snake draft. So could we see Hamilton go off the board at 18 with a pick like that? Who knows? But it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Do you think there's a chance that we see Lango here?
Maybe.
I mean, I would love to. Honestly, okay, if he's going to go anywhere here, just please don't be Hamilton. I don't want to have to see him lined up on the other side of the Red Blacks in a black and gold jersey.
To be fair, though, he would kill it. I mean, he's worn black and gold before with the Bel Air Lions and Akafa. Shout out to that organization. He'll rock it. So, it's not like he wouldn't look good in it. But yeah, I understand. You don't want to put him up. I feel like that's one though where we're gonna see him kind of come home. If we don't draft him, he's someone that we could probably pick up in free agency. If Ottawa could easily pick up in free agency.
Yeah, I don't really want to put that on him to say that he's got to come play for the Red Blacks at some point because
no, God no. But I'm just saying that if he were to be drafted by Hamilton and he were to hit free agency in 2-3 years, Ottawa, I think it would be easy for Ottawa to pick him up in free agency for kind of a pitch him to come home kind of thing.
I mean, it really depends, how he starts his career. If he goes to Hamilton, he plays extremely well in camp, makes a team, and then forces his way to starting. I mean, he's not going anywhere at that point. He'll stick around.
And this is where we kind of have the discussions of would a kind of a cap restriction or a cap write-off be beneficial for players, guys that you've drafted and developed. If you were to sign, let's say Alain went to Hamilton, and he were to become a starter in year 2. Would it be beneficial to sign him and have his cap not count against the cap hit, or where he could sign two guys who've been a starter for 2-3 years on your team, like Simone Lawrence. If you were able to sign like Simone Lawrence and Dylan Wynn to contracts and not have them count towards your cap for the duration of their contracts, that would reduce player movement, create more of a that loyalty and stability that fans are looking for, and kind of treat players give players an incentive and give teams an incentive to sign these players to big money deals.
I kind of like the idea of, if you draft somebody, having them be potentially exempt from your cap deal.
We got
obviously
Winnipeg coming in. Sorry to interrupt. So Reda Kramdi out of DB out of Montreal. So 2018 first team all RSCQ All-Star. 32 and a half tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks in 2019. And he had 18 reps on the bench and ran a 4.7 at National Combine. He is from Algeria.
Ooh.
So he was born in Algiers, Algeria.
I definitely know where that is.
So interesting pick.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting tired. But anyway, yeah, back to the point about having cap exempt players that you draft. I think that would be a fantastic incentive to kind of hang on to your players a little bit longer after you draft them. And in the case of, go back to an Antoine Pruneau, be huge. Like that's a guy then all of a sudden you aren't afraid of overspending to keep on your team. Maybe you limit it to a certain amount of dollars that can be spent across a certain amount of players, but I don't see necessarily a downside to giving teams incentives to keep the Canadians that they drafted around longer and potentially give them more of a chance to become stars in the league.
Yeah, and I think it's important that there has to be a way to do it, because you can't just sign, let's say, Willie Jefferson hits free agency. Well, he's been a starter for 2 years, so he won't count. He'll count towards Hamilton's cap. You have to make it a way that it's players that have been on your roster for a certain amount of time, or have been on your roster that you've developed, that were drafted and they've moved up, kind of thing. It has to be one of those two. You couldn't just say that, you can sign 1 or 2 players every free agency that don't count towards your cap. Yeah,
because that's too much, because then you get into a situation where, Saskatchewan comes out of nowhere and gives a guy who would have previously made, 100,000 on any other team, and Saskatchewan, just being richer, goes, all right, we'll give you 150 or 200, and then they load up on the talent that other teams just simply can't afford. So you'd back yourself into a bit of a corner there that you don't want. But if you say, look, okay, maybe Brad Sinopoli is still a Stampeder right now, if you have something like that in place, maybe the Red Blacks aren't looking to replace Antoine Pruneau as desperately as they appear to be. Stuff like that I think would make a bit of a difference in terms of player retention.
I mean, I think the other thing is also the possibility of quarterbacks, right? What if you were to remove a quarterbacks from the salary as a whole? If a quarterback salary didn't count towards the cap, because everyone talks about how the quarterback's the most important piece. If you were to remove that cap hit, how much benefit? If you were to say, okay, 1 offensive player, 1 defensive player, they have to be on your roster for 2 years. They have to start a minimum of half the games over those 2 years. So they have to start, 18 games. Would they could be eligible to be cap exempt?
Yeah, and that would create a big difference, because we look then at, Bo Levi Mitchell stayed with the Stampeder, so it's not the best example. So let's use Mike Riley going to the BC Lions. The Lions paid him $800,000, correct? Or 725, something in
like
that
that.
range.
Almost $1 million, yeah.
If you have a situation where he doesn't count against the salary cap, what is to stop Edmonton from just going, here's $1 million. Now we get you for free.
Which is fine.
Right.
But like you create that sense of stability that fans want. Like the biggest thing fans talk about is the inability to keep players here long term.
The issue that you've opened up here, though, is now you have the Edmonton football team with arguably at times in the past couple of years the best quarterback in the CFL for zero. Nothing. No value tied to him at all.
So
otherwise would take up roughly 20% of the salary cap. Now they can build a super team. So you have to kind of be cautious when you create rules like that. That's why I think it should be reserved for players you draft and Canadians you draft.
You're also not like, I think you're also kind of shorthanding the players who've been here, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, you could circumvent this by saying, okay, if you sign a player, you get $200,000 back because you shouldn't get $1 million.
But I
for
think
free, right?
I don't think it's necessarily for free. You're still willing to pop out $1 million.
You are, but it doesn't count against your salary cap, which is then dangerous.
But instead of paying, five, like if our salary cap's $5 million and you're going to pay $6 million and you're going to fill in that extra $1 million with a couple of other players, how much are you really gaining out of that? Like how many teams? But how many teams are willing to do it is the question. Also, we have a pick. Oh wow, Terrell Jana, West Virginia receiver, heading to Saskatchewan.
Yes, the guy that was mocked to Ottawa that I kind of wanted the Red Blacks to pick.
12th in Virginia history with 123 receptions, 1,481 yards, 5 TDs in Cavalier career. Was one of 5 FBS receivers with 100 targets and a 70% catch rate.
Yeah, that's who I wanted. I'll be honest with you. I was really hoping the Red Blacks would pick him up at some point.
Yeah, well. So we got one more pick of the second round, and then we're calling it a night because we've been live for 2.5 hours, and we can't stay for all 6 rounds.
I can't believe we did that last year, by the way. 8 rounds, too.
Yeah.
I think our stream was 4.5 hours.
Yeah, we were here until like 11:30, almost 12 o'clock. Maybe next year, if it's profitable, we'll do it because obviously fans might like it. I don't know. We'll see. But
your young one will be a little bit older too, but maybe that's worse, to be honest with you.
No, I think it might be better.
You'll be closing up on the terrible 2s.
That's fine. She's not overly terrible right now, so I guess it's coming.
Terrible 2s. It's coming. It's going to come. I know. I was a baby once.
Yeah, so was I. We all were. That's how life works, numbskull. I think that's one of your most Bruce Garriock quotes I've ever heard you say.
What? I was a baby once?
Yeah. Just such an obvious, like thank you, Captain Obvious.
Look, we're going to get Bruce Garriock on here just for fun, and I'm going to shave, and Shane, you're going to start referring to me as Bruce, and Bruce as Frankie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the funniest thing. It's just because if you haven't watched any of our live streams when Frankie has shaven, go back on YouTube, watch them, and then pull up a picture of Bruce Garriock. And I have no issue with Bruce. He does a great job covering the Senators. But literally look at Bruce and look at Frankie and just please, they look alike when he's shaving. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be
never
mean,
shaving again.
True.
I'm never shaving again. I'm shaving again. I'm going to have a beard down here.
That's fine. You look better with a beard. Good.
So I grew it just for you.
I appreciate that. That's sweet.
I didn't. I'm lying. I'm entirely lying to you. All right, Shane. I want you got to predict. Who's
Chuba Hubbard.
Going?
Chuba Hubbard.
No.
Chuba?
No.
Going for Hubbard.
No. Just looking at who is still here.
Bandy.
We still have Patrice Rene, that defensive back out of NC State, or just North Carolina, sorry. Do we have any running backs available?
Hubbard.
Yes, okay. We have Dominic Johnson as well, a receiver out of Buffalo. Josh Palmer, who was ranked number 1.
Wasn't he picked in like the second round or third round of the NFL draft?
I believe so. He has considerable NFL interest. I could see potentially a throwaway here, though, that, focus on something.
Saying, Hamilton literally has 18 and 19. So, like, I really don't know who they can pick that fills a hole right now. I feel like if there's an off-the-board pick about a drafted NFL player, this is it.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic! I just looked. The CFL is tweeting out all of the
all the picks.
All of the picks fantastically. So I can just go in and retweet them. I'm going to do this the lazy way.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So we got one more. We got one more pick before we call it a night. And obviously it's going to be the longest pick of the night.
Yep.
Again, we thank you all for tuning in to our live stream. We greatly appreciate the support. And remember, hit that follow button, hit that notifications button on YouTube. Share the video, subscribe. We all appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll have some CFL football to talk about this year. Come August.
We have to have hope, right?
Yeah, I mean. Also, let me know about the bandana. Is it a good look? Should I get rid of it? Should I burn it?
Well, I'm gonna take a picture of it and send it to Bo and see what he thinks.
Oh, why Bo? I'm gonna go for Derek, bro.
Bo's got the headband thing. Bo's got the headband thing too, though.
Yeah, but Derek's the OG.
Bo, does Derek wear the ninja style or no?
I have no idea, but he was the OG headband. I had a red. Okay, so before Rough Riders fans get mad at me for wearing the Rough Riders with a black headband, I have a white one somewhere. I just don't know where it is. I think my roommate stole it from me. But I have a white one somewhere. It was better than the other. I have 3 headbands. I thought I lost this one.
What's wrong with the black headband? What is that? What is that?
White goes better with green than black. So I just.
Who cares? Who cares?
So, also my beautiful jerseys. My beautiful jerseys. Frankie has nothing. He's also wearing a Bills jersey, so kind of sucks.
Dean Leonard, a defensive back at Ole Miss.
Interesting. My stream's behind. Oh, there you go. Yeah, interesting.
That is.
Calgary, Alberta. Oh, he's the guy that went from pretty sure he's the one that went from Calgary to Ole Miss this year. Because Calgary wasn't having a season that he transferred to Ole Miss to play.
That's quite the transfer.
There was a couple of players that did it. So, yeah, we have the final pick of the second round. Dean Leonard going from Ole Miss, Calgary, Alberta product, going to Hamilton. So Hamilton stands off the end of the second round. They will kick off the third round with the 19th pick overall. You can head on over to our Facebook or Twitter pages to follow along with us. I believe the 13th man, if you want to head over to their social medias, is also live streaming the rest of the draft. I might be wrong. I think TSN3, Third Down Nation.
Oh, okay. You said the 13th man. I'm like, what are we doing? Hold on.
No, the 3 Down Nation is streaming the rest of the draft live. I might be mistaken. If you're watching on TV, TSN 1 and 3 have the rest. Might have the rest of the draft. If not, follow us.
They do actually.
They are. They're going all the way.
They're going all the way. It looks like.
Wow, that's surprising.
I
They
think.
usually
Hold
don't go all
on.
the
Let me
way.
check. Let me check the guide here.
Yeah, it says until 9:30. So it looks like they're going to go till 9:30 and then cut off after that. But with that being said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Like we said it all episode. Remember, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything from us. And we will catch you back here next Tuesday at 7:30 with a brand new episode of the 13th Man live show, 13th Man Sports live show. We appreciate all the support. Thank you guys. Stay safe. Have a great evening, and we'll catch you back here next week.